Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Along with G. Bush and Mikey McNuggets, I'm Adam the Bull. We've got Anthony, Earl, and Steve behind the glass. How we doing, fellas?
And we good.
Right, beautiful morning.
And if you say behind the glass, you owe them money. Like you can't every time you say it.
How much do I got to pay them?
They get paid in Bitcoin.
Dogecoin.
By the way, and G, you'll appreciate this. Anthony, right before the show, apparently is only wearing one shoe today. I was informed of this by Steve.
Wearing one shoe. Disgusting.
And Steve informed me because he knew I'd want to bust Anthony's chops about it, which was a good idea. And here's the thing, but what I found out is that we found out quickly right before the show is that the reason Anthony has a sprained ankle is because he was helping a friend move. And G, as you know, like you and I, we're too old to be helping friends move.
And it's not happening.
Those days are over.
That ship has sailed.
But when you're young, like Anthony, when you're 25, you help your friends move. That's what you do when you're in your 20s.
Yeah. And it kills your whole Saturday.
Oh, my God.
And then, like, here's the thing. If you're going to be a friend, if your friend helps you, you got to at least give him some bucks, man. You got to give him a couple of dollars.
Yeah, did they pay you in? That's a big question.
I got free Chipotle out of it.
I was about to say, you got to have food.
Yeah.
I got.
First of all, when I was in my 20s and moving, I would buy my friends pizza, whatever. You got to buy the food. You should hook them up with some cash.
It's because you're saving like $500.
$500?
At minimum. No, that's what I'm saying. At minimum by using your friends as opposed to a service. So the least you could do is some lunch and then, hey, thanks again. 20
Shout out,
bucks or whatever.
he did right. But Anthony's a good
But Anthony's a good friend.
Either way, shout out to Maddie and Nick for buying their first house. Congrats, guys.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
shout out Maddie and Nick. Big fans of Maddie and Nick.
Yeah, Maddie and Nick, that was it. They were so cheap, they got you Chipotle. I mean, Chipotle is...
Here's the thing. I'll take Chipotle anytime. Like, you could ask me to do anything. You give me a Chipotle burrito bowl, I'll do it.
Anything?
Yeah, he's a Chipotle whore.
Jeez.
He's talking about
Okay.
Chipotle.
Well, keep that in mind. Hey, Anthony, I've got a dead body here and Chipotle. Can you help me?
Man,
I need chips and guac if it's a dead body.
Hey, man, if you watch the ID channel, there are steps to moving bodies.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
This is like, you know what I'm saying, it's a protocol. Like, I'm not saying I'm moving anything, because I already told you I'm a civilian. I'm going right in there and be like,
Calling the police?
hey, man, I ain't saying this is G. Bush, but I see three, four, like, there's people, I thought somebody was banging on their door. Yeah, he got cats around here. He's neglecting animals. And I think his fence is too high.
Oh, my God. That's
Neighborhood
funny.
watch.
Yeah.
Mike,
What's up, Paul?
what do you have to say for yourself?
Listen, I would help my friends move. I also appreciate money and food. That also makes it worth the time. But I do have something.
You just went into your 30s, though, so you can't do it anymore.
I still would help. I'm still.
No, it's bad enough you go to weddings every 8 seconds. That's enough with
That ends about 33.
Yeah, like, you got a few more years.
All of them are done. Or
Yeah.
if you got friends that are terrible in relationships, you might actually get the re-up, where I'm getting married again.
I haven't been to a re-up yet.
You ain't been to a
All these
re-up?
are first.
Now, here's the question for the unmarried guys on this show. Earl, Anthony, and Mike.
Oh, no. 2 of them is married.
Steve.
They don't know it yet.
Well, but they're not. No, you understand what I'm saying, though. I hear what you're saying.
Don't forget Steve, too.
You guys are. Oh, and Steve, right? If you guys get married, will any of the members of this show be in your wedding party?
Not for McNuggets. I'll tell you that right
party?
Yeah.
Yeah, McNuggets has way too many friends.
He got way
The
too.
answer should be no anyway,
Yeah.
because you can't invite everybody. Then some people hurt their feelings.
I already have an issue.
And we're all too old. Most of us are too old anyway. We don't want once you're a certain
You be
age,
invited
you
to the
don't want to
wedding.
be in a wedding party.
You'd be invited to the wedding for sure.
Of
Wedding
course.
party?
Yeah.
I'm not sure y'all might.
Thank you. We don't want to be. No offense. Do you know who your best man would be?
I have an issue.
Don't say that now. Today on the show. Go ahead.
No, I have my best friend from college.
Yeah.
And I have my best friend from high school. And they are also very good friends now, like through.
That's tricky.
And I don't know, so what I'm probably gonna do is default to my little brother. So none of them. And
that's a good call.
One of them will feel. One of them I don't think would care if I didn't choose him. The other one would get very offended if I didn't choose him. So I think I'm gonna default to go my brother. and then have just both of them be.
Is your sister in the wedding? Are you going to force her on as a bridesmaid? The answer is yes.
If
Yeah, you got to do that.
You
Yeah,
got
I mean,
to. She's
But having
automatically.
your brother is the best man. Are you? What's up?
I just want to know if I can officiate it.
I want Earl to be there drinking with me. Like,
By the way,
Yeah, you're all invited.
I am a legal officiant.
so is Earl.
Oh, Earl is too?
Earl flew down to Houston to officiate
Right, I
a
forgot.
UCSS fan's wedding.
You know what's so messed
Well, but Earl, you're a good friend. You don't want to. You want to enjoy the party. You don't want to do that.
Man, you
Although
like
I
to go.
enjoyed Jonathan Peterlin's party after
Yeah.
I married them. So yeah.
You know what's crazy? Is the fact that they naturally assumed Earl was not even in the running to get married.
What do you mean? You're the one who said not Earl.
Hey, listen.
Well, you didn't specifically, but we know that Anthony and Mike are in serious
I
relationships.
mean, Earl is a Scorpio. He has locks, and he is a brother. When the last brothers' weddings is rare. Like the National Museum of Arts and Artifacts came to my wedding was like, what? You got married twice and you're a brother? Take pictures of this. They molded my hands and everything. I forgot to put my hands in some cement. It's like, yeah, bro, you one of the rare ones. Super
Speaking of artifacts, G,
Yeah.
I was going through my laptop the other day, but I found a clip that I had to show you guys.
Oh.
Because this dates back 10 years to the first time I ever met Jason Lloyd. When I was a
gosh.
senior in college, I interned for Fox
Yeah.
25 in Boston.
Right.
And if you saw the Ultimate Cavs show yesterday, we showed you this clip. Other than that, this is never before seen
Okay.
footage. And
What?
I got to shadow Butch Stearns while he covered a Celtics playoff game.
Was his real name Butch? Or is
Yeah,
that a
no, his real
nickname?
name was Butch Stearns.
Real
He's
name
still
was
in Boston, still in Fox 25. Great guy. It was Game 3,
Yeah.
Cavs Celtics, when Kelly Olynyk ripped Kevin Love's shoulder out.
Yeah.
So I was in the locker room with
sore
Jason
subject.
Lloyd that night.
Yeah.
I taped 2 stand-ups after the game.
Yeah.
You want to see a 20-year-old baby McNuggets in
Yeah,
a
let's see
terrible
this. We
need
TV
that.
stand-up?
So does Jason show up in the background or no?
No,
That
just
would've been
I just met
hilarious.
Jason. I showed it to Jason last
Yeah,
night. It was
yeah.
actually the first time I ever met Jason. This was from April of 2014.
Or so it's 10 years, not, you said 20 years. Oh, you were 20
I was
years
20
old.
years old.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
When this happened.
Let's see this.
This is baby McTenders. In Game 3 against Cleveland, the Celtics played hard, aggressive basketball in front of a chaotic Garden crowd. But much like Games 1 and 2, Cleveland was a team that played with more poise, and that's why Boston trails in the series 3-0. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers know how to win in the playoffs. The Celtics, they haven't quite learned that trait just yet. Their next and maybe final chance comes right back here on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Mike Lucas, Fox 25's.
Bro.
That was rough.
Hey.
That was
That was
rough.
pretty good for a 20-year-old intern. I got to give you credit there. I love the walk forward.
The walk forward, yeah,
That was
the
impressive.
motion stand up. But I figured the Cavs
Yeah.
need some good luck tonight. If anything can bring the Cavs good luck, it is
Yeah.
20-year-old McNuggets standing on the old Boston
Yeah.
Garden
You look
arena.
much better with the short
Back-
hair.
I know
back
that was hideous.
Back
Yeah,
then, bro,
that was tough.
first of all, his shirt is a 2X.
Yeah,
The button up is a 2X. That tie is that tie.
that tie was retired in 1980, and I brought it back for one stand-up.
That was a Steve Harvey tie. The knot was
Man.
big. It was way up here by your collarbone.
That was like a Julio Franco coming out of retirement.
And he realized when he
Yeah.
got to Texas, they
Yeah.
said, "Listen, you got to get in this Austin cult. Like, you can't be having sides as a white guy. The sides need to be tapered." That was prior to the taper. Now the
Yeah.
taper is there. He's added the part. His shirts are now extra small. He eats grass. He eats grass. Look at that. Look, he was like, hold on. He realized right there, he was like, yeah, I need to upgrade. If I want to get into this top cult, I need to make some changes. He did his
You
thing.
are,
He did his
as
thing.
in Yiddish, I'd say you look kind of schleppendicke there.
That sounds like slapdick, and I agree.
No,
I
that's
look kind of
slapdick.
slapdick in that.
You just look like a bit of a mess.
Hey, you know how disrespectful that is? Like,
No, he's right though. Like that.
Yeah.
That was not a good
But
look.
I actually think your stand-up was pretty good for a 20-year-old
the
intern.
pacing needed some
Dude, you were
work, but
very inexperienced then. I mean, you were
Yeah.
still in college, right?
I liked it.
yeah, it was a rising
So,
senior.
yeah, that was pretty good. That was funny.
McNuggets then got that glow up. He got that penthouse.
I'll
He
take
got
it.
the side. You can only listen unless you make a certain amount of bread. You can't have a part on the side.
Mike, never do that again.
Hey, let's get a read. Let's talk little
Never
Cavs
do that
Celtics.
again. All right, on that note, guys, it's winners take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home your own big win. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make every shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
All right, thank you, Anthony. The Cavs, Game 5 tonight in Boston, TNT, just after 7 o'clock. By the way, did you see the I'll talk about it later. Forget it. So, the Cavs played their ass. You were on Monday, so you've all had a chance to comment on it.
Yeah.
The Cavs played their asses off Monday night. I think we all gave them credit for that, considering how shorthanded they were.
Yeah.
But this game is on the road. It appears that Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen will not play. Karis LeVert's dealing with an injury now, too. He's
He had a
questionable also.
bone bruise. He's questionable.
I think, I'll just speak for myself. I thought they were going to get destroyed in Game 4, and I was so impressed with how they played. I just can't see them doing it again in Boston. The Celtics are not going to want to come back here and have to play another game. I think I'll be surprised if the Cavs cover the spread, which is like 15 or whatever it is, let alone win. Crazier things have happened, but I can't see them playing that tough a game again, that shorthanded in Boston. Can you guys?
No. First and foremost, I want to say this.
Yeah.
League ain't letting that go down. I thought y'all was done because I wasn't on here the other day. One of the worst officiated games I've ever seen in my life, boo. And
but I'm not buying this big market, small market nonsense. I'm not buying it. I just don't believe that.
I just saw an NBA player who's rich, his brother's rich, gamble on the game. I don't understand how that happens. I understand, people say, it's kind of far-fetched, but I'm not going to say it's out and out some sort of narrative, but one thing I will say in basketball, and it's been this way since the beginning of time, if you got a team and that team is a traditional power, they are going to get those calls. When you look at that game and the disparities in free throws, there was some phantom calls on jump shots. When you start calling fouls on jump shots, looking for things, the pulling of the ankle, and I'm not a guy that's saying people is cheating. My thing is this: they not letting, if you wasn't getting no calls at home, what do you think gonna happen on Boston?
I actually think it would have been better for the league if the Cavs won Game 4, because the longer these series go, the better. But listen, I know everybody was complaining about the officials. I wasn't complaining as much as others. There were some bad calls. I don't believe in fixes and all this stuff. I know things have happened over the years. I don't believe that the league is trying to cheat for the home team. For the bigger market team. Yes, the Cavs did not get the benefit of the whistle. Yes, they will not get the benefit of the whistle tonight.
They sure as heck
I agree with you there. But I just, to me, there's too much talk about the officials.
Well, here, I'll say this. Maybe I won't go as far as saying it's a conspiracy theory, but this league was built on, we talk about Michael Jordan all the time. This league was built on the fact that when he started getting calls and they started saying, okay, that's Mike, you can't do that, that's when a lot of things changed.
But that's more about superstars than the market of the team.
That's where I'm going, right?
Okay.
So when you see Tatum and you see Braun,
stars get called.
If they miss a shot, it's like you as a ref, you're a human. Like, oh well, Jason Tatum been missing a little bit.
And without Donovan Mitchell, it was more noticeable because the Cavs didn't have a guy like that.
Yes. So but back to the lesson at hand.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do in this game? It's not going to look good. I remember there was a game, and I was at OU, and we was playing at Marshall one year, and both defensive ends had got hurt. Right, I played defensive end. They're like, yeah, bro, we gonna move you to nose tackle today. Okay. I'm like, okay. We go to Huntington. We get there. We get to Huntington, West Virginia. The rain it's raining sideways. It was one of the most miserable days in my life. And I'm like, man, it's cold. It's rainy. We're 1-9. We're 1-9. Oof. And I'm playing nose tackle. And I'm like this. I'm making business decisions. I'm like, well, look, I got another year. I'm not about to come out here because I had already injured my knee the last game of the year as a freshman against North Carolina State. I said, I tore my ACL the last game. Like, I'm not getting set back again. Am I saying I didn't play hard? No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you didn't have that thing that was driving you to say, I got to make every play. I got to do this, that. You're like, listen, I'm going to get up out of here, and we're going to take these L's, and then we figure out what's going on in the offseason and get better. For the Cavs, when Donovan Mitchell was not playing, they gave all they had at home. Jarrett Allen ain't playing. You might not even see your ball players. So you got Mobley, who has an ankle, and Darius Garland, who did play well without the rest of the guys, but they don't have enough. They didn't have enough when everybody was healthy. Yeah. So what are they going to do today?
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill climb. There's no doubt about it. I would be shocked if Donovan plays tonight. We talked about the calf strain a little bit yesterday. That's an injury that takes not days but weeks to heal. Giannis suffered a calf strain before the end of the regular season, and he didn't play the entirety of the Pacers series. That's what Porzingis is dealing with. He hasn't played in 2 weeks, and he's still not ready to play. Kevin Durant, before he tore his Achilles, back when he was in the finals, he was coming off a calf strain. He rushed back with the offseason ahead of him and the potential of a calf strain turning into an Achilles injury. I can't imagine he plays tonight. I know he's a Warrior, and it sucks that your best player is not going to be out there, but frankly, I'd be shocked if Donovan Mitchell is on the court. I think there's a better chance Jarrett Allen plays, but he's been questionable for close to 3 weeks now. Who knows how he's going to wake up and feel. So I think they'll be without their 2 starters tonight. They'll be down. And when you see a team go out and compete the way they did in Game 4, it's difficult to then replicate that in Game 5, especially on the road. But I don't think it's impossible for the Cavs to compete, guys. I mean, we could see a similar performance from we saw from Max Strus in the first half. Right. We could see other guys step up. They had guys who played well. They also had guys who didn't really do a whole lot that can play a lot better in Game 5. At this point, they have nothing to lose.
I'll tell you, can you put up that tweet again from Evan? The big news, though, you left it out there.
Craig Porter Jr.
Craig Porter Jr. upgraded from out to doubtful. I mean, that's a big one. But Earl the Pearl favorite Ty Jerome remains out for this one.
If we're talking adjustments, I do have a couple of things I think the Cavs can change from their Game 4 game plan.
My, silly humor.
Well, I mean, listen, Ty Jerome is the biggest question. Ty Jerome's biggest question. He played 3 minutes all season and has been out with I don't even know what he's hurt with. It didn't tear an ACL. He didn't break his neck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Will you look up neck? That seems extreme.
Well, that's what caused him to miss the whole season. Will you look up what injury did Ty Jerome suffer?
He's got succitis to his left ankle.
He suffered a right ankle sprain in 101-8 to 105 loss to the Thunder is what Google says.
That was the 3rd game of the season, guys.
Wow. You got a sprained ankle 6 months ago?
That's what I'm saying. That whole situation makes no sense. So I don't even want to joke about Ty Jerome because I thought he could contribute to this team. And we literally haven't seen him since 72 hours from the opening tip, and we're about...
Did you ever see the movie? I'm sorry to cut you off. Has anybody here, I bet you nobody here has seen this. Have you ever, anybody seen the movie Summer School with Mark Harmon? Has anybody seen that movie? Steve, G. Bush, anybody?
I have
nobody?
Not,
no.
There's a movie, it's called Summer School. It's an 80s comedy. At the time, it was hilarious. Watching back now, it's kind of cringe and dated. But there's a guy who goes to the bathroom. These kids are troubled kids. They go to one guy goes to the bathroom the first day of summer school, and he shows up on the last day with the pass.
That's crazy.
Right, last day, and he got the highest grade on the test. That's Ty Jerome. He showed up on the first day, went to the bathroom, and he's never come back.
You know, people in the chat are saying, McNuggets, there is a couple of things that you can do. Like when you...
I have 5 adjustments for y'all.
You got 5?
I got them.
5 adjustments that are going to lead the Cavs to victory.
Not to lead to victory necessarily, but things I think could actually allow them to compete tonight, and if everything goes well, they can.
Let me throw in all them.
You start. You start.
I'm going to throw in, free Monty Bates. Stop playing around. He's eligible for the playoff roster.
No, he's not.
He ain't. What happened?
No, he's a 2-way player. He can't play in the playoffs.
What?
How do you? What kind of red shirt? What kind of red shirt?
2-way contracts are not eligible for the playoffs.
Actually, G. Bush has been on him all year, and I've had no interest. But that got me excited for a second.
I'm like, yo,
I hate to be the buzzkill. I'm just telling you the real rules.
Play him in the Garden. See what he got. How you get a two-way deal? Listen, by the way, this is why the Cavs are run like a JV organization. These guys are still doing rudimentary high school things. Remember back in the day when you used to be freshmen, but they let you dress JV? And you're like, but listen, I don't really want to go to the JV games. I want to sit in the stands and watch the varsity.
You just got to
play.
get your minutes in.
I just want my minutes. And then it's even worse if you're a junior and they say, you got to play JV before a varsity game. You're like, I ain't doing that. I don't want to play in that JV game, period. The stats don't even count. You got Imani Bates. You got one of the Mobleys. You got all the ball players at the end of the bench wearing jewelry and hanging out. By the way, Mr. Mobley, that shirt he had on, he had a sweater the other day. That was
funny.
That wasn't it.
Well, I didn't see it.
It said, I need space.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because all we want Evan Mobley to do is space the floor.
Yeah.
Like, all we've been begging Evan Mobley for 3 years to do is space the floor, and he comes in with the sweatshirt that says, I need space.
There you go.
Evan Mobley?
Yeah,
Evan Mobley, yeah.
What's the other Mobley?
Isaiah.
Is he eligible?
No, he's a two-way player.
By the way,
But Craig Porter Jr., real quick, sorry to cut you off, but Craig Porter Jr. signed a full NBA contract.
Right.
They converted his two-way status to a full-time NBA player, which is why, had he been healthy, he is eligible, which is why Evan's tweet about him being upgraded from
doubtful.
out to doubtful is actually...
Wow, it's crazy.
He could, in theory, play tonight.
Yeah.
Imani Bates and others cannot.
Karis LeVert also questionable for tonight's game. And so far in the playoffs for the Cavs, questionable is meant out.
Yes. I'm telling you, I'd be shocked if Donovan plays tonight.
Yeah.
I think there's a much better chance, and by much, I think it's like a 1% chance Donovan plays, maybe a 10%. No, I'm saying there's a 1% chance Donovan, and that's probably even being a little too high.
Yeah.
I think it's 10 to 20% for Jarrett Allen.
Really? I don't think there's any chance that either are going to play, but...
Go ahead with your adjustments.
All right.
So I do have 5 legitimate adjustments.
Legitimate.
And I have videos for 3 of them.
Okay.
First.
Number 5.
Or number 1, whatever. You can all go whatever order you want. You got to start Dean Wade. Isaac Okoro has given you absolutely nothing offensively, and the Cavs need the spacing. And play the Okoro video. The Celtics have decided for the second postseason in a row, we're just not going to guard Isaac Okoro, and you're playing 4-on-5. Look how open they leave Isaac Okoro whenever Steve wants to hit play on the video, so it actually plays, Steve.
Yeah.
Look how open they leave Isaac in the corner.
He might as well not even be on the court.
You're playing 4-on-5 offensively, and
Are they that worried about Dean Wade, though, either? I agree with you, but, they got to guard him?
They'll guard him more than they'll guard Isaac Okoro. And at least Dean Wade is a good rebounder. He doesn't look like he should be a good rebounder. He wasn't
a good rebounder last game.
No, but his actual rebound percentage of the regular season has been high.
You're right.
He's 6'9". He actually guarded Jason Tatum way better than anyone else did in Game 4. He held him to 1 of 7 shooting according to NBA's tracking data. So you get a little more size with Dean Wade. You get theoretically a little more spacing and shooting, and you're a better rebounding team with Dean. Isaac, his point of attack defense is really good. However, he's 6'5", and Boston's guards, Holiday and White, aren't the ones necessarily initiating the offense. So I'm fine taking Okoro out. If they're going to sink off him and play 5 feet off, he's not helping you offensively if he's not making shots. Give me Dean Wade. At least give him a shot.
Okay.
That's more size, more spacing. G, what do you think about adjustment number 1?
This is Isaac Okoro's last game. We can't.
I'm kind of done with him too.
I mean, look, you can't. We can't keep doing this where he plays well during the regular season. It don't even be that well. It'd be like, okay, I'm playing hard. Nobody else is playing hard. and
he has like a 20-game stretch every year where he looks like he's made big strides and then goes completely.
This was his best regular season, but we'll call a best regular season a spade a spade. He's a 8.5 point per game, 35% 3-and-D shooter.
Yeah. And like you said, I would like a little more length on him, by the way. Like, at least Dean Wade is 6'8".
Yep.
When you got smaller guards like that, man, it's okay, man. We got another 3-and-D guy coming in the draft. Shout out to Bronny James, man. You know what I'm saying? 3-and-D. You know what it is, man. We got a 6'1", 210, built like a cornerback, 41-inch vertical. Look, we, knocking down shots. Now, look, hey, we just get younger. You know what I'm saying? Developing.
I saw this before we go to the next one. Somebody sent me this tweet. It was from a very reliable source, Hoops Wire.
Yep.
Fran Leyva of Fadeaway World. I mean, if you can't trust Fran Leyva of Fadeaway World, who can you trust? He proposed the following trade idea between the Cavs and the Clippers. The Cavs would trade Karis LeVert, Max Strus, Isaac Okoro, and Niang, and a 2031 first-round pick.
Okay.
For Paul George.
For Paul George. Would we do it?
Yes.
Would they do it?
Yeah, oh,
What do you got to say about it?
Paul George is.
Does he have anything left in the tank?
He does. He's
Yeah.
tomorrow or Monday, depending on whenever the Cavs season ends, or
Yeah.
hopefully in 3 weeks if it keeps extending. We'll go over the list of trade candidates and free agent candidates.
Mike, you got to see.
I'll tell you a little heads up. Paul George is on that list. So
Pull
Okay.
back. See, Mike,
But
I
why
like
would the
that.
Clippers trade him for 4 guys?
because they have no depth, they don't want to pay him a max contract
Okay.
over a 4-year
So maybe
span,
that trade makes
so-
sense for them because they're
Yeah.
4 decent,
Yeah.
serviceable players, and they get a first-round pick in 7 years.
And they ain't doing nothing with him.
Yeah.
They ain't going
you
nowhere.
think that could possibly happen? That's not crazy?
I think it'd be a little more than that, but the idea of a Paul George
Yeah.
trade is not totally unrealistic.
Now the Cavs would have no. They'd have a really good starting 5 and then no bench.
Hey, man, I like how you snuck that
down?
trade machine in there.
Sneak it
You
in.
know,
Sneak
McNuggets.
it. I just said
McNuggets be
sneak it
Xing
in, by the way.
that. He don't like that. Season's not over, boo. We can't talk trade.
No, hey, I will say this morning,
Yeah.
and Ant and Earl could attest, we got a ton of graphics with the NFL schedule coming out tonight to make tomorrow. So
Yeah.
just in case, and I hope we don't need it tomorrow, it's ready to go.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
all y'all in the chat, get your trades, the trade machines
trades
going.
ready.
It's ready to go.
We're ready to go. We've
Hope it
been
doesn't come to
chomping
that.
at the bit.
I hope we don't pull it out till June after they win the NBA championship.
Stop
But
it.
just
You know
in
they're
case,
losing tonight.
just in
We
case.
gotta
All right,
live in reality. Go ahead.
adjustment number 2. This goes back to what G said earlier with the refereeing.
Yeah.
We've spent all season complaining about Evan Mobley not going up strong and saying Darius Garland's scared of contact and Karis LeVert is herky-jerky. Well, those 3 traits do not lend themselves to drawing whistles. If you're going up weak, if you're fading away, if you're not attacking the contact as the offensive player, you are not going to get the benefit of the doubt, especially if you're not a star caliber player like
Right.
Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Donovan Mitchell. So tonight,
Most teams the Cavs play are more aggressive going to the basket than the Cavs.
Yes,
and
and-
that's part of the reason they don't get as many calls.
exactly, and we can't sit here and spend all regular season saying Darius is scared of contact and
Yeah.
Evan keeps, why doesn't he go up strong, and then complain when we don't get free throws. If you go up weak, you are not going to get the call. So tonight, when you get to the cup and when you attempt a shot within 2-3 feet of the bucket, yes, you have to hope the refs are actually going to blow their whistle and help you out. But you can't go up weak and soft. You can't have it both ways. So attack with a purpose, drive with a purpose, and try and finish through the Celtics, not around them. That's adjustment number 2.
I like adjustment number 2. It's a good point. I think every time there's a, and again, I acknowledge that the Cavs got screwed on a couple of calls. Yes.
I do agree with that too.
But every time there's a disparity in free throws, people just say, "Oh, it's unfair." But part of it is what you're saying.
Yeah, and they shot
That-
40, they shot 48
Right.
threes too.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
Sam Merrill got fouled on the last
Yeah.
shot in the third quarter. That should have been free throws. But when they shoot as many threes as they did, and when
was-
they go up weak as frequently
was
as they have,
hilarious.
that doesn't lead to getting a favorable
By
whistle.
the way, you know what would be the greatest thing ever for the NBA?
If I won
and
$1 million,
Why would that be great? That'd be great for you.
well then I make
But it
more
wouldn't be
NBA
great for the
content,
NBA.
so it'd be great for the NBA.
But wouldn't it be great if, like, I don't know why we don't have this technology. It's just like we talk, with football, we always talk about, like, put a chip in the ball. So
Yeah.
we're not measuring with a chain still in 2024. How stupid
Yeah.
is that? How about in the NBA, if guys had, like, sensors or whatever? So, like, if the sensor goes off, it's a foul. If it doesn't go off, it's not a foul. Boom. No complaining, no whining, no nothing. There's got to be the technology for that.
Well, if you touch a person, you're allowed to have contact.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah.
Well, you got to figure it out. Let's go. It's 2024. Let's have the technology.
What they should do, to me, I think, first of all, I don't like all the 3-point stuff. Like Jay said something the other day.
Yeah.
And I do respect it. Like, it is tough to watch. It's a 3-point shooting contest
It is.
at this point.
It is.
Like, it's not. I remember, and I went back to just see if I was tripping or not. I was in the time machine on YouTube. I'm like, man, there's some of these fouls. They was like the Knicks.
Yeah, oh my
and,
God.
And the Pistons. Like,
Yeah.
it was. You had, like, for you to get that call, it was like life or death. You
Yeah.
had to be dead halfway.
I love that.
I like
I
the
like
fact-
them letting them play. I like the physical play. And
I like all the positions
Yeah.
that other people can play. And here's my thing. Do you believe that they will move the 3-point shot back?
no, the NBA likes scoring,
Yeah.
so I don't think
And-
they have
and
any
here's
reason
the thing,
to.
G, young fans love it.
Yeah.
I think I'm like that too. Like, I don't like the NBA as much as I used to. Now, I do enjoy the playoffs still, and I've watched a good amount of these other playoff games. So I enjoy the playoffs. As you know, I find the regular season unwatchable now, which I was never the case when I was younger. I hate all the threes, and I love, like, when Evan Mobley made that move to the basket the other day late in the game and did the dunk.
Dunked it on Holiday.
Like, I feel like we don't see plays like that very often, and I love that basketball. I loved watching Patrick Ewing and Akeem Olajuwon.
like
Alonzo Mourning.
Even like Robert Parrish against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, those were great, fun battles in the paint. Even up until Tim Duncan and Shaq, but now you just don't. Now the big guys all shoot, which is fine, but it's just it feels like everybody plays the same way.
Embiid's a little bit of a throwback. He goes down low. Jokic he's not a throwback because there's nothing like him.
Yeah,
but he does a lot of his damage in the post, and he was pirouetting around Rudy Gobert last night. I don't know if you guys saw the Nuggets game.
A lot of people owe the Nuggets apologies. There was a lot of people ending their season at 0-2.
That was a masterclass from Jokic last night.
Oh my
he had
God.
a 40-burger.
Yeah.
And he didn't miss a single shot until the last 2 minutes of the game when guarded by Rudy Gobert.
Well, their whole team, they had Porter was like 1 for 10.
And no one else really
the rest
played
of their
that
team
great.
shot like 70%.
So let me ask you this. I was thinking, like, just basically with this roster, right? And you talk about adjustments. They don't do this all too often, but I went back and I was watching it, and I watched how Vlade Divac and Chris Webber played with Sacramento, and they worked a lot at the elbow. Like, they really initiated.
I have been screaming. Right? Evan Mobley at the elbow should be a significantly bigger part of their offense. He's a good passer. He's a good initiator. Jarrett Allen's not even bad in that sense, but when Jarrett Allen's out, I don't understand why they don't run more through Evan Mobley, because I think even if it's just passing the ball out and we want him to be more aggressive, that gets him involved in the offense, and I think if he feels more involved in the game plan in the offense, he'd be more aggressive in his shot attempts. So I agree with you, G. I think that's a missed opportunity from this Cavs staff and organization to utilize his best offensive skill set on a more frequent basis.
Yeah, if you give him the ball at the elbow, he's done a good enough job where you can run high-low with him and Jarrett Allen, and God forbid you get a three. God forbid you get somebody like Brandon Ingram. And then you can really now you can. I don't believe that it's a done deal that Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley can play together. You just need a three that can do some other things, and maybe like I like the fact that I really love the lineup when they had Lauri Markkanen, Jarrett Allen, and Mobley.
Still need more spacing.
So
you can't. I just don't think you can win consistent with two non-shooters. So it all works if Mobley develops a shot.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: if in theory, Paul George was their three,
it helps a lot more.
Then you probably could get by with it. I mean, if your starting lineup was Darius Donovan, Paul George, Allen, and Mobley, like, that's a great starting lineup.
It's a very good start. Yeah.
Now, I don't know who the hell's on the bench, but
yeah, the question is, in the regular season, it'll work. In the postseason, is there enough spacing when teams decide we're just not going to guard that extra player and put the fifth guy in the paint? That's the big question.
Right, and how do you
counter adjust?
How does it work with Paul George and Mitchell and
but that's a great problem to have and figure out.
All right, get to your next one.
Third adjustment. This is a little niche thing, but when Evan Mobley is setting screens, or Tristan Thompson or whoever, but especially Evan Mobley, I want him to hold that ball screen for half a second longer.
Right.
The reason is you have Derek White and Drew Holiday and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown chasing these guys off, and they're always dropping. Al Horford's in drop coverage on 99.5% of their possessions. It's essentially a switch. They start and drop, then they switch. The guard has to chase over and around. If Mobley holds that screen for half a second longer, half a count, a one miss, not even Mississippi, just a one miss, that gives Donovan, Darius, Karras, whoever's in that position tonight, it won't be Donovan, I don't think, an extra half second to diagnose and read the defense before the backside defender comes over the screen. And because it's Al Horford against Evan Mobley, the lob threat's still there. The reason you don't hold the screen is you want your roller to get down, be in a position for a lob. It happens so quick. But if Evan Mobley can't catch a lob over Al Horford, he's taller than Al Horford, he's more athletic than Al Horford, he has a significantly longer wingspan than Al Horford, then we got other Evan Mobley questions to deal with. So I don't think you're sacrificing having him in the lob position as that lob threat roller by holding the screen an extra half second. That just gives a little more space time and ability for whoever the ball handler is to dissect the defense and figure out what the best point of attack is.
By the way, speaking of Horford, doesn't he look completely shot?
Yeah, he's old. He's 30.
Yeah.
He's a great backup big.
Are they
A great backup big.
Are they getting Porzingis back in the next round? Do we know?
Before Game 4, Joe Mazzulla said his pregame warm-up with Porzingis was the best he had moved to date. So he's progressing. But it's a calf strain. It's the same thing Mitchell has, which is why
Don't you think they're
I
going to
can't
need
imagine
him to
he
win
plays.
it all?
100%.
Right?
They have no chance without. 0.0% chance without.
The way the Knicks played, do you think the Knicks could beat the Celtics? That was an impressive bounce back by the Knicks last night.
They may have 6 healthy players by that point. So
what's his name? Oh my God,
Brunson?
Brunson looked fine last night.
Brunson looked good, but it's different going against Indiana's guards defensively than Drew Holiday and Derek White.
I think they have a really good chance to beat them.
Shams just tweeted real quick. Sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. Donovan Mitchell expected to miss tonight's game.
Oh yeah, that ain't happening. The Knicks, to me, I've been saying it all offseason. Even though the Cavs play hard,
Yeah,
the Knicks always look like they're playing frantically.
Yeah.
Like it's like they playing like their wife and kids is tied up
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
And then plus I've always said this. Like I'm still waiting for this to happen to the Cavs. Right. Josh Hart has been a guy who's been on multiple teams. Right.
I wanted him here so bad last year.
He gets to New York, and guess what? He
Thrives.
he thrives.
Thrives.
You can see the confidence he playing with. He like, yo, I'm going to play defense. I hit threes now, and I'm going to get 12, 15 rebounds.
Yeah, right.
DiVincenzo, we talked about him as one of the guys that you potentially wanted to bring
Last
in
year.
here.
Plays with a lot of confidence, yeah.
Yep.
This guy is out here playing with all the confidence in the world. So when you watch these guys, Hartenstein was here.
yeah.
He
we
was
didn't
on
do
your
anything.
roster.
Yeah, that's true.
And these guys are getting the most out of these dudes. I'm still waiting for a time.
Thibodeau's a hell of a coach.
When are we gonna get a guy we like, man?
Yeah, right.
Where'd
he come from?
Where'd he come from?
Yeah, right.
One thing on Tibbs with this particular Knicks roster, and we'll get back because my next adjustment I think is the biggest one we have to actually hit on. But one thing with Tibbs in this particular Knicks roster, I don't think it's talked about enough because he coaches hard. Like there's no baby footing around how he coaches. The 3 best players on the roster healthy right now: Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart. Then Villanova 3.
Right, yeah.
And even OG, and I'll make it the point is they all played multiple years in college. And I know that may seem like nothing, but all these guys who go one and done, they don't get coached in college. Their college coaches kind of just say, hey, it's a rental, you're here 3 months, go. Brunson played 4 years. DiVincenzo played 3 years. Hart played 3 years. And Anunoby played 2 years.
Yeah.
Hartenstein, I don't know where he came from. Mitchell Robinson played 2 years.
Right.
Randall's the one. You can coach those guys harder because I think they've actually been coached hard in their life before, especially the Nova guys like Jay Wright.
Yeah,
who
that's a good point.
He's not. You look at all the guys, and I'm just using the Cavs for an example. I'm not comparing them. Garland one and done. Mobley one and done. Mitchell played 2 years for Rick Pitino at Louisville.
Right.
He's the exception.
Yeah.
Jarrett Allen one and done. I think, and this is maybe a big picture NBA thing, but all these one and done dudes who come out aren't used to being coached the way these guys who stayed through college 3, 4, 5 years.
Fair.
And why a guy like Tibbs with that particular roster
works.
It's like a match made in heaven. Tibbs doesn't work for a lot of other rosters.
No, that's fair.
And he tends to burn out. Really,
Right.
he burns bright.
Yeah.
But I'll say I forgot about Julius Randle. Like,
Yeah, they haven't.
they got a squad. They got a squad. I mean, Julius Randle's a 25
Yeah,
point
he's
scorer in this
All
league.
NBA last year.
Is Anunoby going to be back for the
He
Eastern
has
Conference Finals?
he has a hamstring strain. So
Are
it's
you
one of
rooting
those.
for the Knicks against the Celtics?
I
Assuming
would
that
I would want
happens?
the Knicks to beat the Celtics. Yeah, I want to see
Gee, who you rooting
MSG
for, Knicks,
in
Celtics?
an NBA MSG in the finals would be a lot.
Listen, I can't stand. I don't like the Celtics.
I
don't.
hate the Celtics.
And
Jaylen Brown pissed me off.
Well, then this next adjustment's right up your alley.
Jaylen
Bro.
Brown,
Adjustment number 4.
Boy.
Late in the shot clock, under 10 seconds. Before 10, this is irrelevant. Under 10 seconds. As soon as Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum turn their back to try and post up whatever defender's on them, I'm sending help. In games 1 and games 2, we saw Derek White, we saw Drew Holiday, and Steve, I got a video for this one. We saw other guys make shots. In the last 2 games, they haven't made shots.
That's right.
Jason Tatum, when the shot clock's winding down, he can do stuff like this. That's a great move.
that's nasty.
You can't stop it. As soon as he turns his back, Jaylen Brown right there, I'm sending 2.
Yeah.
Make him kick it out to someone else. Make Peyton Pritchard. Make Drew Holiday. Make Derek White. Make somebody else try and beat you as
And
opposed
if you lose to those guys,
you beat them.
What are you going to do?
But if you do it too early, then the Celtics have a chance to swing. You get caught in double rotations.
Right.
It's really hard to recover. If you wait till the shot clock gets under 10, it's one rotation. You can recover and live through one rotation before Boston comes back and beats you. So under 10 seconds, as soon as their back turns, I'm sending help. You can recover, you can rotate. But those guys late in the shot clock, I'm not letting them beat me one-on-one.
And I'll go ahead and throw something else on that. Only one of y'all gonna get off. I'm sorry. Only one. Listen, pick one. I would listen. I think Jason Tatum can beat you more than Jaylen Brown. So I'm like, listen, hey Jaylen Brown, you're gonna have to hit us for 90.
Yeah.
I'm doubling every single time, and that's like you said. They get because they hitting a lot of shots with under 10 seconds.
They play slow. Yeah. They work it around, and they find Brown or Tatum and say, "Hey, bail us out of a bad possession."
Yeah, ring around the rosy. Hey, Drew Holiday, if you want 50 or Derek White 150, go ahead and get it today. But I'm not gonna let you get that off. I can't let both of y'all get 30. And I think they need to be playing after that ankle thing. See, here's what I would like to see. After the pulling of the ankle, and they didn't let you. They was like, "Oh, that was how's that a basketball play?"
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
I don't got no problem with this. I'm a football player. Remember they had that comment, well, football players play basketball or basketball? Listen, I'm putting you in the first runner stance. I got a flagrant ready. I got one ready. It's in my pocket. Yeah. Like you go up, I'm coming all around the shoulders, right up in here. Yeah, hard foul. And I'm looking at you and be like, yeah, I can take one. You need to be like, you bring
in Morris just for that.
You can't let
Morris
these
Thompson.
dudes float around and be like, I don't like how Jaylen Brown just, I got a beard.
Oh, I was pissed about that with his trash talking at the end of the game.
My beard is full, and I got cornrows that go sideways, and I'm pigeon toed. Shut up.
Last adjustment.
Wait, hold on one second.
Oh yeah.
Jaylen Brown, fake tough guy. I said he's a fake tough guy. Earl said he thinks he's a real tough guy. What are you buying?
Jaylen Brown ain't a tough guy.
See, Earl, come on.
He got designs in his hair. Anybody got no design? Says the guy with a part in his hair.
Earl's definitely a tough guy.
I know Earl's a tough guy. That's why I figure he'd recognize a fake tough guy.
No, but G said you can't have tough guy if you have designs in your hair.
You can't have designs. Zigzags.
Last adjustment. I know we got to talk Browns. This is more personal. For the love of God, if Peyton Pritchard has the ball in the final 10 seconds of the third quarter, tackle him. I want to see a DeQuell Jackson spear. Get him out. He has hit 2 dagger threes to end the third quarter, which essentially stopped any momentum and a chance of a Cavs comeback. If he has the ball late in the third quarter, do not let Peyton Pritchard get off a shot. This is a stupid adjustment. This is a Mike Lucas personal adjustment. But for the love of God, if I see Peyton Pritchard another 3 to close out the third quarter, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Foul him. I don't care. Yeah. Do not let Peyton Pritchard get that shot
Mike
off.
is worked up about Peyton Pritchard because Peyton Pritchard looks like every best player on a Division III roster in America.
He don't like that.
That's the most spot-on thing you've ever said in the history of your life.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
It's always like a kind of a little bit, strong white dude who can dribble, who can shoot.
Didn't he play for you too?
No, he played at Oregon.
No. I thought he played for the Cavs for 6 seconds.
No, he was drafted by the Celtics. Yeah. He's always been a Celtic.
All right, there you go. Let's move. Let's keep it moving. Schedule tonight. I can't wait. Go ahead, Anthony.
Before we get to our schedule talk, guys, if you're trying to go to the Boston game tonight, well, there's no better place to get tickets than Game Time. Game Time lets you get all your last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% by buying. You can save up to 60% last minute buying for sports, concerts, comedy, theater. You can get even more with their all-in pricing. You toggle the feature on so there's no surprise fees at checkout, and it's guaranteed low pricing. Game Time will credit you up to 110% of the difference. And if you're looking for the lowest price ticket tonight, it's even down further from yesterday. It's $101 to sit in section 326, row 13 up there. It was $108 yesterday. That's going to continue to go down. All you guys have to do is download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Then you can download Game Time today. You last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Oh. There's been some more schedule leaks. I know we're getting into guys retiring, but tonight's the schedule, so I just want to talk about this. There's been some schedule leaks, whether they all turn out to be true or not, but this Twitter page, NFL schedule
it's
update,
pretty good.
They're usually pretty good. Yeah. Right now for the Browns, they have, we know the first 3 games. Well,
we think we know.
Unconfirmed that the Browns are playing the Cowboys at home in Week 1, at the Jags in Week 2, and the Giants in Week 3.
Who they got to?
At Jaguars.
At Jacksonville.
Okay.
Other things that have just popped up in the last little bit, if you're interested, Chiefs at Bills, Week 11. 49ers at Vikings, Week 2. Broncos at Bengals, Week 17. Just the second, and it looks like the
Was that Broncos Bengals?
Yeah.
Oh, week 18 is the last week now.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I was going to say, that's
looks like the
weird
Bengals get a big advantage in week 1. They're hosting the. Looks like it's going to be Bengals hosting the Patriots week 1.
My goodness.
That's a nice start for them. You never know. Looks like the Chargers Raiders week 1 in Vegas. Broncos at Saints week 7 Thursday Night Football. Steelers at Colts week 4.
Well, let's just do schedule stuff now.
Anyway,
We'll do the
let's do it. Bills at Ravens week 4.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Steelers at Commanders week. That is a lot.
I'm
excited.
I'm excited. Yeah, let's do schedule now. Then we'll do the retired players next.
Steelers at Bengals week 13. So a lot of the games are coming out already. The Browns, when you look at those first 3 games that we, according to the schedule leaks. So here's the strength of schedule. Now, to me, obviously, if you look at the Browns' opponents, their strength of schedule is the toughest. Now, I don't know that it doesn't always work that way, because just because the team was good last year doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be good this year. But based on this one statistic, the Browns have the toughest schedule. Now, the Ravens and Steelers are second and third. The Bengals are more middle of the pack because
they're 16th, dead middle.
Because the Bengals play the 4th place schedule, and the only difference in the schedule is 3 games in teams within the division. But and in these other divisions, the 2nd and 3rd place teams is not a big drop.
For the 4th place.
The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place.
But I'm saying third to 4th in some divisions, a huge drop. In others,
the 3rd to 4th is a big one. That's why the Bengals get to play the Patriots, while the other teams in this division play, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills, which are all significantly better teams. And then same thing when you're playing the extra 17th game. But based on this, obviously the Browns will have the toughest schedule. So no matter how the schedule plays itself out for the Browns, we know on paper it's going to be tough. They're playing a lot of good teams. It's tougher than last year on paper. We'll see. But considering, I don't think that's a terrible 3-game start. I mean, you got the Cowboys is the best team you're playing in the first 3, at least on paper, and that's at home. So you get plenty of time to get ready for that. Your first road game's at Jacksonville. There'll be tons of Browns fans there.
Yeah, not a great.
And then your second home game in week 3 is the Giants, who's one of the worst teams on your schedule. And we see that the Browns are probably playing the Steelers on Thursday Night Football week 12. So what do we think about what we know so far, weeks 1 through 3 and week 12? G, where are you at with what you've seen so far?
Well, look, I tweeted. I said they getting some smoke that first game. I think that first game is really going to set the tone because, there was so much talked about the Browns and what it is and what it ain't last year in terms of putting them on national TV because of Deshaun Watson. All that is done. Now for once this year, all of that stuff is out the window. This year 3, you got the Cowboys, obviously a very popular team. You got Dak Prescott, who is another I would say polarizing quarterback, but one of the better quarterbacks. And you got 2 owners, Jerry and Jimmy, 2 good old boys with a lot of money. Like this got all the matchups, right? CeeDee Lamb, Denzel Ward, Michael Parsons, Myles Garrett. You got the great matchups all over the board, and plus it's very rare for the Cowboys to be coming to Cleveland. I've only seen it in a few times
It's happened 3 times since '89.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the one game that we went to, one of my favorite games the Browns played, was the game that they played with the all color rush.
49-38 in 2020 when the Browns won.
That was one of my favorite joints. So I'm excited for that.
That was the OBJ reverse game, wasn't it?
It was.
If I remember. Yeah.
OBJ, Nick Chubb had a bunch of yards. Like I think 3 running backs had like over 100 yards. Yeah. So to me, I like it. Plus Tom Brady is calling the game. We're gonna see what he's talking about. And it's 4:30 on the Big Time Network.
It's the most primetime, non-primetime game you could possibly get.
Right.
The Fox NFL Game of the Week with Tom Brady making his broadcast debut. It's not a technical primetime slot, but you can't have a bigger audience than the Browns will get in week 1 against the Cowboys. I also like starting in Jacksonville for week 2, if that is what ends up being the case.
Yep.
That's not a great home crowd for Jacksonville, even for their home opener. You go some places for a home opener, it's going to be batshit crazy. Cleveland's home opener's rabid in the best way every time they play.
Right.
Jacksonville doesn't have a home crowd advantage like that. The Giants shouldn't be very good in week 3. And I think it's funny, or not funny is not the right word, but I like to look at how this schedule compares to last year's schedule. We only have so much information yet.
Yeah.
Last year they started at home versus Bengals, Monday Night Football versus Steelers, and they had the Titans at home and then the Ravens at home. 3 out of their first 4 games were AFC North matchups. And I was like, that's interesting because we think this division's going to be tough, but to get those divisional matchups right out of the way to start, and then you don't play them again until the end of the season in most cases. I didn't like how it was kind of bookending the season. Here, I like how we're going to see more of a show us who you are, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's learn a little bit about each of these football teams before we get into these divisional matchups, which proved so pivotal in the final standings. So I like how we went from 2 out of the first 3 last year, or our first 2 and then 3 of the first 4, to none in the first 3 if the schedule is right.
Yeah.
I prefer it this way than I do the other way.
It is interesting how they did that. It doesn't look like there's any division games the first at least 2 weeks, if not 3. By the way, the last time the Browns beat Dallas in Cleveland, December 4th of '88. Now, as you said, they've only played 3 times since then. They've lost the last 3. In that game, the Browns won 24-21, scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter, despite the fact that their leading rusher was Ernest Biner, who had 24 yards on 10 carries.
Oof.
It was all through the air. Bernie went 19 of 27, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The touchdowns to Reggie Langhorne, Herman Fontenot,
Love him.
and Clarence Weathers. I don't remember Clarence Weathers. Do you remember Clarence Weathers?
It sounds like that 1988 Browns team took a playbook page out of Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski's playbook, because they're going to be chucking that ball around 70-75% of the time this year, according to all reports.
Yeah.
And that's not how traditionally football was played. G, you weren't here yesterday when we talked about this, though. It's a hell of a matchup to go up against defensively in week 1 for whatever this new-look offense looks like. Deshaun coming off injury. We're still not sure if Nick Chubb will be in uniform. That's got all the makings of a put-up or shut-up week 1 situation for all this hype around the Browns offense.
Yeah, it is. I think that one thing that's going to happen, though, is you're going to get an opportunity to see, hey, is he really that dude? Because if he comes out and does very well, if he comes out and does what he needs to do, Bull, you're going to start to see people say, oh, is Deshaun Watson back? That's one of the games where they'll say, people say it's a small sample size, but if you beat the Cowboys, Skip Bayless is watching.
Yep.
Stephen A. watching.
Everyone's watching Tom Brady's debut.
Everybody
so every
watching
eye in
Tom
America's
Brady's
on
debut.
that. Yeah.
And you can see at the bottom line, did Deshaun Watson and the Browns steal the spotlight from Tom Brady in his first?
Oh, yeah. The overreaction to Watson's performance is big, one way or the other, good or bad.
Right.
I mean, if he plays good, then there's going to be a sense of maybe he's back. And if he plays poorly, it's going to be ugly the other way. I think you're right, though. I mean, and we mentioned this briefly yesterday. You just said it again today. The idea of the Browns being a pariah in terms of let's keep them out of the spotlight, I think is over
gone,
now.
for sure.
It's been enough time. The team it's a good team with a good roster. Whether they're going to be a great team with a great roster is all up to Deshaun Watson. That's it. If he's just a guy, they'll be good. They're going to still be good.
Right.
But for them to be great,
They need Deshaun.
he's got to be great.
Yeah, so this is a game where, like you said, Dallas has a really good defense, and by the way, Dallas is a stellar regular season team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Dallas during the regular season, they be looking like juggernauts. Like they got guys on offense that can get it going. We'll see what Zeke does. Zeke is back there.
CD Lamb's top
CD
5,
Lamb,
10 receiver.
Yep.
Top 5.
Micah Parsons is a perennial defensive player of the year
They're getting
type candidate.
Diggs back.
Diggs is coming back, and guess what? Jed Wills. Might be a long day, fella. You get to come back week 1 against Micah Parsons, and we're going to see what it's like. So, this is going to be a good barometer, and plus you just want to see what Dorsey got.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what that playbook looks like.
Yeah.
Because before I could just assume. Now my thing is I don't know. We'll probably have this conversation, but
we heard it was going to be different last year.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. Will it be different this year?
how
see.
much off? How is Nick Chubb going to be out there? You're like
A lot of questions. A lot of time to figure that out.
a lot of time to
obviously,
figure
too.
that out. So yeah, it's just
The schedule releases at 8 o'clock tonight. Tyvis Powell will be live on our YouTube channel as the schedule comes out, breaking down the matchups as this kind of unfolds. So make sure you guys tune in at 8 o'clock to Tyvis on the channel. One thing to keep in mind with all the schedule releases, like we know the opponents. The timing of when you play certain teams, I think, is more important than
sure.
a lot of the other things that we talk about when it comes to a schedule release.
Yeah.
Getting bad teams at the right time, getting good teams either early in the season before
but
they
you
become
don't
good
know
teams.
that, Mike. Like,
no,
the season,
I know, but I'm
know.
just talking when the schedule comes out as we prepare ourselves for
Right.
whatever is released at 8 o'clock. One of the things I look forward to seeing is we know who the teams will be, but when do you play them, and trying to think and predict, oh, is this a good time to play Team X? Or, hey, we're catching Team Y when they're coming off a bye, or vice versa.
Right.
Is stuff to at least
But
consider when you're looking at the schedule.
That's part of it. Then once the season starts,
Yeah, it's
you
relevant.
may think it's a bad matchup that week, but then their quarterback's hurt, so it turns out
the
to be
Texans,
a good
C.J.
matchup.
Stroud,
And
when they
again,
played
the
week
reality is that the Browns have a very tough schedule on paper, and so they don't play a lot of bad teams, or at least teams we think are going to be bad.
I think there's something to be said. Like, I look at the Ravens, right? Ravens have the second hardest schedule.
Right.
They catch the Chiefs game 1, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at those teams and you figure that an AFC North team has the best chance of coming in second in the AFC, that's a big-time game because you're looking at those standings and it's like, well, I'm already looking at tiebreakers and stuff. Like,
the Chiefs have a huge advantage there because their division stinks.
Yeah, like,
and the AFC North, everybody's good.
And so I think that if you really want to win a Super Bowl, you got to have at least home field advantage in one round. If you ain't got home field advantage in one round, good luck. It just don't work that way. Like, and I think the Bengals, because they do play the 4th place team in a very tight division, I think that's pivotal. I think it is, man. Like,
it could be.
Like,
I mean, Drake May could be C.J. Stroud 2.0, and you never
his
know.
First game,
but theoretically speaking, G's
I'm
point's
going to bet
right,
against Drake May being C.J. Stroud.
yes.
I think Brissett's going to start that game. I doubt
Probably.
Drake May's the starter week 1.
Yeah.
Is that game in Cincinnati?
Yes.
Oh, they did you no favors, New England. They schedule you a L.
And it is. What's funny though is it's really, they say the Ravens have the second best schedule. Really, the Browns and Ravens is equal. If anything, the Ravens schedule may be harder. The only reason the Browns have a slightly higher winning percentage is because the Ravens had more wins than the Browns, and they play them twice.
Yeah.
So the Browns have to play.
Right.
If you take out the head-to-head between the Browns and Ravens, the rest of the Ravens schedule is probably slightly tougher than the Browns. Slightly. I mean, they're both right at the top.
The Steelers would not be. No, just the Ravens. Just the Ravens.
Right.
Yeah, just the Ravens.
But essentially the Browns, Ravens, and Steelers have equal schedules. Equally tough.
Essentially
the Bengals schedule is also pretty tough. It's just not as tough because they got those 3 games that are significantly easier.
Yeah.
You're right. That could be a big difference. Like the Browns are playing the Browns are playing from the East, they're playing the Jets, right?
Yes.
They play the
No, they don't. Do they?
No, they play the Dolphins.
Hold on.
They
play the Dolphins.
Anthony, could you just bring up the Browns schedule again? The Browns opponents. So let's look at the difference between the Browns and Bengals, the 3 games
they
that are
have
different.
the Dolphins and the Saints, as opposed to Cincinnati getting the Panthers and the Patriots.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah.
Panthers is
there's
L.
3 games though, Mike.
Okay.
Who's
So
the
hold
other
on.
one?
Bengals opponent, because once they went to 17.
Oh, Jacksonville.
So
then
the Browns are playing. Who are the 3 Browns games?
Jacksonville, New Orleans, Miami.
Jacksonville, New Orleans, Miami. So that's the AFC South, the NFC South, and the AFC East.
Yeah.
So Jacksonville, New Orleans, Miami. In place of those, the Bengals are playing the Patriots,
The Panthers,
and then the
Titans.
Titans. I mean, that's a significant.
That's huge.
Those 3 games are a big advantage for the Bengals.
They're playing Will Levis, rookie.
Yeah.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young, rookie, trash. And then
The
Drake
Patriots,
May.
it could be the worst team in the
It's
league.
going to be Jacoby Brissett in week 1, but yeah.
Right.
But, I mean,
But who's he got around them?
No one.
No one.
No
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So that's it. And it doesn't listen. It's just that's the challenge of when you finish higher in the schedule or in the standings that you have to deal. But in the and so schedule wise, no doubt the Bengals get an advantage. I think the Browns, Ravens, and Steelers, it's probably about equal. Let's look at the Ravens because
Well, the Ravens will play. The Bills won the division.
right.
The
Who won the South?
Texans won the division.
Yeah.
And
The NFC South
was the Buccaneers.
Yeah. So I think Buccaneers Saints is a draw.
I like the
But-
Buccaneers. I like them better than Saints.
And the Bills Miami might be a draw.
it's close.
But-
It's close enough. Yeah.
Having to play the Chiefs. No, not the Chiefs.
The Texans as opposed to the
So the Browns get to play the Jags.
Jags is a difference.
So I actually think the Ravens' schedule is slightly tougher than the Browns. Because
Yeah.
you'd much rather play the Jags
the
than
only,
the
like
Texans.
you said, the only reason
Right, is
Browns
because
is
the
ahead
Browns
is
have
the
to play
Browns
the
have to play the
Ravens.
Ravens
Yeah.
to 3 more
And
wins.
Patrick Mahomes and opening days is he just doesn't lose.
Yeah.
He lost last year.
He lost last year?
Yeah, to the Lions.
That is right. Good job. They played terrible too.
Yeah, they did play terrible.
I stand corrected. He did.
It was
Yes.
21-20, I think.
Traditionally, they
But for the
come
most
out-
part, they've been awesome.
Yeah,
this
like he
season.
come out and
Yeah.
throw up big points. But shout out to the Lions.
I'm excited. 8 o'clock tonight's going to be wild. Make sure you guys tune in to Tyvis. It's going to
Yeah,
be fun.
Tyvis will be
His
there
first
breaking it
ever
all
solo
down.
show.
Get you some money, Tyvis.
There you
I'm going
go.
to mute his microphone.
All right. Now, we're going to get into one other subject here with the Browns in a second. First, Anthony's got something for us.
Yeah, guys, if you want to keep up with the schedule talk, you're going to want to tune in tomorrow at 5:30 for the Ultimate 216. It's every Thursday at 5:30 pretty much. And Earl's got some content for you all around the Browns schedule, his thoughts and opinions. And Friday, you can check out the Ultimate Browns, giving you more and more in-depth breakdown of the schedule because we'll have the schedule for those two shows. So go check out both the Ultimate shows on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, and we appreciate all the support you guys give all of our shows.
Thank you, Anthony. All right, let's. I'm just quickly looking to see if there's been any more Browns leaks. Nothing new on that.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I didn't sneeze.
I always say bless
I'm
you.
coughing.
Do you know why they say bless you?
I don't know why.
So back in the days when people used to sneeze, they used to think that it was your soul leaving your body.
Oh, really?
So people used to say bless you
Yeah.
for your soul leaving your body.
Look at
Instead
that.
that,
You learn something new every day. The Renaissance man, G. Bush, giving us the breakdown. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I never knew that. All right. So yesterday, go ahead, Anthony. You want to set this up?
Yeah, so Rodney Mcleod went
Yeah.
on the NFL Total Access and said that this is going to be his last lap in the NFL. It's going to be his last year playing with the Browns. And I'm going to show you the clip real quick, and then we'll go into our question of how many Browns players could it be the last year
Does
of.
Rodney Mcleod get a farewell tour?
He should. Super Bowl
Yes.
champion Rodney McLeod.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is the last lap for me. It's been a long career, prosperous one, one that many didn't anticipate when I started out being undrafted, but I've been able to achieve a lot and looking forward to just rocking out with my teammates this year, giving it my all, and hopefully ending up where we ultimately want to be, and that's a part of that last dance at the end of this year.
And the 13 seasons becoming a rarity, Rodney, guys being able to make the decision on their own terms, of course, ultimately a rarity. Why did you make the decision to do that last lap in Cleveland?
I made a decision to make this the last lap. Just felt as though last year was left incomplete. I wanted a complete year. I pride myself on availability and being durable. And so for me this year, it's finishing unfinished business, I would say. Felt like I left food on the plate, right? And I'm hungry. And I think I could say the same for a lot of my teammates. We got better this offseason, and we're going to pretty much leave off where we ended last year. We're going to come into the season ready, prepared, and hungry than we were last year to go out and hopefully obtain what we desire.
First of all, what an amazing accomplishment. There's not that many NFL. First of all, it's nearly impossible to make it into the NFL, as you know.
Yep.
Yes.
Number two, if you do make it, there's what percentage of players last 13 years?
13 is
Less
crazy.
than 5%.
Okay. And he was undrafted. I would love to know how many undrafted players have played 13 or more years. The number's got to be pretty small.
Steve Becker, I know we say don't text us during the show. This is a great
This is a Steve
research
Becker
opportunity.
special,
This
yeah.
is a Steve Becker special. If you find it, you are allowed to text
I mean,
us.
it's got to be, I would say, if there were 30 guys in that scenario, I'd be surprised. Outside of, forget kickers and punters, that's different. But like,
or quarterbacks.
No.
Yeah, but undrafted.
Yeah,
quarterback.
but right. Undrafted is tough.
I would like to know guys that were not like kickers, punters, or special teams guys, because
Like
those guys are often undrafted.
A long snapper, yeah.
Right, long snapper.
Doesn't count.
But guys that were primarily offensive or defensive players, undrafted, playing 13 or more years, can't be a lot of guys like that.
And when you do it as a defensive back, like your skills are the quickest to diminish. Like,
no doubt.
We saw Nnamdi Asomugha be like one of the best corners, and then he just
like that.
You lose your speed, or him as a safety. He's banging a lot of cats. Super. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a double pause.
That's so dumb, G. Bush. I can't believe you said yourself.
Well, the question Anthony wanted to ask.
Yeah.
And I'll avoid G getting paused
double
again.
Paused?
Yeah.
Was.
So we know it's Rodney McLeod's last lap. What other Browns could be in their quote-unquote last lap? Not for the NFL, but in their Browns career this year.
Do we have a list of the Browns' upcoming free agents?
I don't have a list. I put a list together, guys. I think will be in their last.
That's a little bit of a dropping of the ball right there.
You could have done your research. Here's my list.
I assumed you guys would have a list of free agents.
Here's my list. These are guys I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident, and don't shoot the
Will
messenger.
not be here.
This is their last year with the Browns. It starts with Nick Chubb. The Browns made it evidently clear when they restructured his contract that instead of extending him, they just reworked it to give him this extra money this last year. So I don't see any reason outside of him coming back having a monster year, which he totally could. He absolutely is capable of. But I think this would be Nick Chubb's last season. Greg Newsome, they picked up the fifth-year option, but him and MJ Emerson both would have to get paid next season. You can't pay both of them. I think they choose Emerson over Newsome, so he's gone. Thornhill, with the emergence of Ronnie Hickman and DeAnthony Bell and the other guys in the safety room, one of the guys is going to be the odd man out. If they cut Thornhill after this season, they end up saving about $4.5 million, and they already have a lot of other guys behind them. Jack Conklin, with the emergence of DeJuan Jones, that's your guy. If you cut Conklin after this season, you save $12 million. I don't know how they bring Conklin back after that. Zadarius Smith, he signed a 2-year deal, but it's really a one-on-one. They can get out after it. It's nothing against Zadarius, but I think the Browns would love for either Alex Wright or Agbo or one of these other young defensive ends to come and take his production so I don't have to pay him again. And then it's either Elijah Moore or Amari Cooper, and I put Amari Cooper on my other list on guys. I really, really, really hope it's not their last year, but they can't pay both Moore and Cooper. And these are the guys I hope it's not the end of. JOK, who still doesn't have an extension, the two guards, one of them it's probably the end.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it'll be. And then Amari, he's on his last year of his deal, 30+. So those are, I think, the candidates, at least the big-name candidates, who could be in their last year with the Browns.
Zach Zenner is going to spell the end of one of those guys.
I don't know which one, but one of the two.
Whoever get hurt first.
One of the two.
Like, it's a
now,
battle
Wyatt
to
Teller's
attrition.
younger, but Petonio's been the more consistent
player, right?
If they cut, real quick on that,
Yeah.
if they cut Petonio after this season, so he plays and then it's no dead loss money. It's just essentially you get out free. Teller, there's a dead cap hit if you were to cut him, so that may factor into it.
I think Joe Petonio is a sneaky retirement.
I was
watch.
just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I could see him.
He's sneaky retirement.
Joe
watch.
Thomas, he's getting up there. He's probably made a lot. He's made a good amount of money. He may be one of these guys that wants to play forever. You never know, but
I mean,
I could see him retiring at the end of the year, even though he's still playing.
And especially if he has a good year, if he makes like All-Pro or he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Like to me, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. Borderline, like.
Yeah, it's so hard with offensive linemen. You never know for
you
sure.
Never really, quite know. So I think he's one of those guys. I've always said that between him and Myles Garrett, I think Myles Garrett wakes up one day. That's why I be freaking out. I think he wakes up one day. It's like, my body hurts. Like I did get in a car accident and I played 12 games. Like Myles Garrett just done a lot of different things. I think he's another dude that won't be here till he's 31 or 32.
I agree.
I think he's out early too.
I could see him waking up one day and go, I'm just going to go write a book on dinosaurs or something.
Yeah, I don't
get into
and then not be seen.
Yeah, that's it.
Like and then
what about the rest of the list?
I think Mike did a good job overall. I think, and maybe I'm kidding myself, but I actually think Nick Chubb will be back next year.
Nick Chubb, to me, I think Conklin, you're dead right on that. When you look into that deal, I killed them for giving him an extension, but when you look at it, it's really like a 2-year type joint.
The Conklin,
yeah.
I mean, it's
But it's
They're
a lot
still
of
going to
bread.
eat $12 million,
Right.
but it.
I think Nick Chubb is back. I think Conklin is gone. I think Jed Wills is gone. I don't think you had him there.
I chose between Wills.
I think
or
they're both
Conklin.
gone.
Bringing a new tackle completely.
Yes.
Interesting.
And maybe spending free agency on a legit left tackle, which is hard to do. Or,
And it's tough because if they don't, so we got a first round draft pick.
Yeah.
If they get rid of Jed Wills, that means we using that on a tackle.
Unless you make a trade or there's a free agent tackle you can get.
Right.
I actually think they'll have 3 new offensive linemen next year.
A guard.
Because I think Bitonio, Wills, and Conklin are all gone. Now, Conklin may not start this year anyway.
But I get your point.
But I think you're going to have a new left tackle and a new left guard. And maybe a new center next year, too. I think Chubb is back. I think JOK will be back.
I hope JOK
I
back.
think
He better be
Zadarius
back.
Smith is gone. I agree with you there. I think Juan Thornhill's gone.
Cooper Moore, how'd you feel on that?
Okay, Moore's gone, no doubt.
Yeah.
Cooper's the toughest because I'm like, you're letting Moore walk. I think Cooper, there's a lot of factors that go into Cooper. Number one, how good is his season?
Yeah.
If he gets hurt again this year, like he got hurt late last year, if he gets hurt again this year, I think they let him walk because now it's like, he's 31, right? He's going to be 31 this year, isn't he?
31 or 32. I think he's.
At that age, if he gets hurt again in season, I think you're going to let him walk. But I think another big factor in Cooper is how good is Jerry Jeudy?
That's another one.
Like if Jerry Jeudy's been a disappointment in his career to this point, but he's capable. I think he has the skill to potentially be a number 1 receiver, not a top 10 guy, but like a good, solid number 1 receiver. Yeah. I think that's his ceiling. And if he can reach that, then they definitely let Cooper go.
Yeah.
And work on, filling up from there. Maybe Cedric Tillman, improves this year. We'll see. Who knows what kind of opportunity he'll get. Who else? Is there anybody else we're forgetting?
Newsom. The Newsom Emerson decision.
Yeah.
I think he's gone.
He knew that when Emerson starting.
Yeah.
Like from day one, it was like,
Yeah, I put JOK on the I hope it's not the end. They just,
no, they got
it's just weird because they could have extended him already. I understand their hesitancy to extend him because was it a one-hit wonder? Can you replicate it? But they don't spend in that position. If it was any other position,
but hey,
I feel
my
a lot
argument
more
to that would be who have they had worth spending on at that position?
I would break the bank for him. I think he's that good. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying it's a position they haven't historically spent.
I think they pull a Teller, a Delpit, an Njoku, which is during the middle of the season, 5-6 games in.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
They extend them.
See it early just for a couple games, and then you could give it up. Yeah, I'm with that.
Because to me, he's actually the key to the defense. Like he's like, if you're gonna run that type of defense and that style where you're just running around, flying around, playing with that level of speed, you gotta have a linebacker that can do that. I think. I mean, you know how I feel about his season last year. Like, I mean,
incredible.
It was crazy. It's one of the better seasons I've seen as a defensive player for the Browns.
As down as we were on him going into this past season,
crazy.
And usually let a guy prove it his second season. With him, I'm like, I'd pay him now.
I would too.
I would, because if he does prove it his second season, then he's getting huge money. The good news is, though, as a linebacker,
big money for that's not even
generally,
huge money,
unless you're a pass rushing outside linebacker, like a T.J. Watt who's not really a linebacker, but he's listed as one. Those guys, the rest of those guys don't get paid crazy money.
We looked at the Patrick Queen deal as like a pretty good. I think.
What did he end up getting?
41 for 3.
Yeah, like that's very doable.
Yeah.
He's gonna. I'm gonna mark it down. He will be the highest paid linebacker in the league when he signs the deal.
More than like Fred Warner got $100 million. You think he's gonna get
he's not
$100
getting
million?
that.
For 100 years, how much is it guaranteed?
I don't know. He got. I think it's 5 for 100 was his deal, or 4 for.
Like I don't know how much you offer a linebacker and guarantee money, but I think JOK could be there, and he's really, really, really young. I mean,
So Fred Warner, according to Over the Cap, signed a 5-year, $95 million extension. $28 million fully guaranteed at signing, $40.5 million fully guaranteed over the course of the deal. That's less than half. I mean, that's actually not.
Still, but that's a lot of money. I don't think he's going to get a bigger deal than that, but I guess
I think maybe he'll be someone in the park.
I mean, he's going to get a good deal. There's no doubt about it. Whether it happens now or at the end of next year, The Browns have developed him, right? Jim Schwartz has developed him. I don't think when you draft a guy and then you develop him into being a really good player, it's generally stupid to let that guy walk. And the Browns have showed you they don't let guys walk if they want to. They're not afraid to spend money.
They signed Delpit again.
Yep.
They signed. Well, they're going to sign Emerson.
Right.
The only one is Newsome, and I think they just lucked up, and because
they would have signed him if it wasn't for Emerson, though.
Right.
Like they lucked into the fact they didn't have to sign him.
JOK, based on what we've seen so far, is a way better player than Greg Newsome.
JOK,
I just think, if you're not going to sign JOK, then you shouldn't. Then what'd you draft him for?
He's lived up to
this year. He way exceeded any expectations anybody could have possibly had for him.
If you knew you were getting that from JOK, he's a top 10 pick.
Yes.
And you got him in the second round.
Right.
So,
yes.
Yeah,
because he's a rare 3-down linebacker.
Yeah.
He doesn't come off the field.
He's not just a run stuffer.
Yeah.
He's not just a pass coverage guy. He can rush the passer. I know you said he had 3.5 sacks last year. I don't think it's crazy that number's at 5.6 this year as they utilize him in more blitz packages and stuff like that.
He missed some sacks.
Guys, we're going to switch it up now. We obviously started the show talking about the Cavs. We got into the Browns. Now it's time to switch to the Guardians and baseball in general. Anthony's going to bring in our next guest.
Yeah, before we bring in our guest, guys, I just want to remind you that it's winners take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and much more. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And today we're welcoming in Scott Braun, executive producer and host of Foul Territory. You can check out Foul Territory show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts with insiders like Ken Rosenthal, AJ Pierzynski, Jason Kipnis, Todd Frazier, and many more big leaguers bringing in real talk to reaction to news and MLB player interviews. Scott, welcome.
Scott, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us. By the way,
fellas, good to see you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. By the way, I love when Todd Frazier talks because, as a New Yorker, I grew up in New York, and now I'm a Clevelander because I've been living here for so long. But I feel like there's so few baseball players that have New York, New Jersey accents. So whenever I hear Todd Frazier talk with his, I think he's from New Jersey,
He's
right?
from Tom's River.
Tom's River, right, which is the big Little League town there. I love hearing the accent, and so that's always fun. He's a great personality.
He is. He was when he was a player. He was when he was a little leaguer. You're right. He's a little league legend. He can probably go a day without hearing about it. He still lives in Tom's River, so he's a legend down there. But you're right. There aren't many baseball players or personalities that actually bring that thick New York or New Jersey accent. So it makes him stand out. He's one of one.
And let me tell you something about Scott, guys, by the way. First of all, he's been excellent for a long time since he was doing MLB Network. I'm not just saying this because you hear Scott. There's two guys, not including ex-players, even though some ex-players aren't very good, but not including ex-players, of guys that are like media members that cover baseball. And you know me, I'm very snobby about baseball. I love baseball, and I think most people in the media suck covering baseball.
Scott, he's not lying. For the record.
That's how I'm very obnoxious about it. But the two guys that are my favorites that do a great job are Scott and then my guy Mike Ferrin from MLB Radio. They know the sport inside and out. They know the minor leaguers. They know the major leaguers. And I think we're at a time, like when I first came up in the business, I felt like a lot of people knew baseball. And now in sports talk and stuff, a lot of hosts just know basketball and football. They don't know baseball, which is why we need a show like yours, which is great to focus just on baseball. So kudos to the career path you've gone on, and I love what you guys are doing there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I left. I worked for MLB for years. I left because I felt like there was a massive void here, right? There are so many great football and basketball related programs out there, or even athlete driven shows. And there wasn't anything at all for baseball. And you're spot on about the national perspective on baseball these days. Most people don't know what they're talking about. They're not watching. They're not paying attention. They barely talk about it. And when they do, it's usually embarrassing, right?
Yes.
So I'm with you, and I appreciate the praise. And Farron's awesome, too. He's one of the dudes that I listen to. I'm a snob, too, right? Because you want to listen to people that are educating you, making you smarter, also giving you authentic takes. It's hard to find sometimes. So we preach that here, too.
Love it.
Scott, speaking of guys, it's funny because baseball used to be my favorite sport in this country. I didn't start even playing football until I was like 14. I played baseball when I was 6. My dad was a coach. He had us hitting ping pong balls and birdies and running around. When you talk about the entire game, what do you contribute to some of that? I guess luster off the game. It was America's pastime. I remember waking up every single morning trying to figure out if Griffey hit another home run or what Frank Thomas was doing. And we just knew the players, we knew the pitchers, we knew everybody. What happened between the home run chase and today that is just like people just tuned out?
Different game. And I look at the marketing. I think that's the reason why people tuned out. The NFL is its own beast. And I know you guys cover all sports. I was just listening to some of your Browns conversations. But I think the path to follow is, what has the NBA done over the last 10 to 15 years? What has MLB done over the last 10 to 15 years? And we can go category by category. And that includes allowing accounts and other media companies to freely use highlights as they please. That was a decision that the NBA made, I think, 10 to 15 years ago. And they said, we're going to be pretty easygoing, because as long as people aren't showing live streams of our games, they're promoting us for free worldwide.
Thank you.
MLB took a different direction, okay? So that's one example. Marketing players. NBA versus MLB is not even in the same stratosphere. And I know it was different years back when I think the sneaker game became big in the NBA world, right? As that grew, it just became such a separation between NBA players and MLB. But that can't be the only reason why there are so many more recognizable names and faces in the NBA. I think it has to do with the league treating players like partners. MLB treats the other side, as in the players, as their opponent in labor negotiations. Right. And that makes every little thing difficult to do. And that even includes your basic commercial and your campaign. That includes your uniforms. You put out new uniforms in Major League Baseball that the players despise. They can't stop talking about how ridiculous they are. Fans see how ridiculous they are. How does that happen? That happens because there's a lack of communication, and they're treated as the opponent in a legal battle, right? That's what the collective bargaining agreement looks like. So I think that helps to explain some examples of why the sport has so drastically changed. And we got to grip the younger audience. And I think MLB has fallen behind there as well in terms of digital and social and authenticity and the way that players talk about drama in the game. In the NBA, we'll have a huge dramatic moment for a month, like in a month that's over a 1 or 2 day period. And I always joke on our show on Foul Territory, I'll go, you know what they call this in the NBA? Tuesday. Because players embrace it. And media embraces it, and players will go on shows and podcasts and talk about it. And in MLB, generally the league, the teams, etc., will say, "Don't talk about this. Let's shush it. We don't want any attention on this." Yeah. Like, you're not like a publicly traded company that's worried about a recall on a product. You want people to talk about this crap. So there's some examples of what we're missing.
No doubt.
Scott, we are a Cleveland show, obviously, so I'm curious what your take is from the outside perspective looking in. The Guardians are off to a great start. They're overperforming our expectations. Are you buying the Guardians being a legit contender in the American League this year?
I don't buy them as a contender, as in a World Series contender, but they are one of the most surprising teams so far this season. I think they're going to be a wild card and or division contender all year, because the AL Central is still the worst division in baseball. I know it's off to a decent start. We'll look at the records right here. That's pretty shiny. That's better than most people thought. Detroit, I think we imagined, would be in that 500 range. If you're not paying attention to baseball, then all you need to know is the White Sox are absolutely awful. They're going to be awful for the next few years. Kansas City's on the rise, Cleveland's on the rise, and Minnesota, after a slow start, has been gangbusters for the most part. So I am surprised about Cleveland's start, but I'm not buying it. I'm not even buying them still as a playoff team, despite them being in first place right now. I think the Twins are going to win the division. I think Cleveland finishes either in second or third place, around the same spot as Kansas City and Detroit. I think there's not enough offense. The bats have been better this year, but I still don't think there's enough there. I'm actually worried for the first time in a minute about their starting rotation. They lose Bieber for the rest of the season. Gavin Williams hasn't come back yet. They don't have as much depth, and some of their upper echelon prospects haven't panned out. We'll see how Manzardo does on offense. I think Bo Naylor will eventually hit. But still, to me, guys, it's 2 or 3 players and a bunch of no names in the lineup and guys that are not supposed to be above average hitters. So I think they're more like a 500-ish team that's been off to a hot start because they play good defense and they have an elite bullpen.
Yeah, unfortunately, Scott, I agree with everything you say in there. I mean, you look at the statistics outside of the bullpen, and you're like, how are they winning? The rotation's been bad. I mean, it flat out has. I mean, Tanner Bybee did a better job his last start, but overall he struggled. You know, the Bieber injury was a killer. Josh Naylor's been fantastic. Quan was great till he got hurt. Even Jose, he's been better, but he hasn't been superstar Jose. Jimenez has been fine. We know David Fry's done a great job in his part-time role. The rest of the lineup is terrible. I mean, they got OPSs in the 500s and low 600s. And the frustrating part is we know the Guardians have a top-notch front office. We know these guys are really good. But ownership in recent years, they've always had a lower payroll, but in recent years, since COVID, it's been pathetic. He doesn't let them spend it all. Like, I look at this team and I'm like, they need at least one starting pitcher, and they need between right field, center field, and shortstop, they need to add at least 2 bats. But I have no faith they'll do any of that, let alone even one of those things, because if they did, then they could be a legit contender. And I know I'm rambling here, but I feel like the American, and I love the Orioles, I love them, but I do feel like the American League is more open than it's been, and so I think other teams should be more aggressive, but I just have no faith that they will.
First off, you're spot on about the offense. Jimenez should be a nice player on offense. Ramirez should hit a little bit better than he has so far based on what he's done for a long time, and he's certainly not done by any means. He has prime years left to go in my mind. And then there's 2 other bats. Quan, who's hurt right now, and then Naylor, who's been awesome for them.
Amazing.
It looks like he'll be a clutch 30-home run bat, and that's a great pickup from them from the Padres a few years ago. The other bats you're talking about, which is basically the other half of the lineup, in my mind, is not supposed to be good. Like, it's not a high ceiling group, as opposed to the Braves, who actually had slow starts from Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr., Austin Riley. We know they're going to hit. With Cleveland, we're like, okay, there's a few dudes off to really good starts. They might cool off. The other guys off to crappy starts probably aren't going to heat up that much. So
Naylor, that's it. Bo Naylor's the only one.
Right, Naylor should hit a little bit more, and I like Manzardo as a hitting prospect.
Yeah, sure.
But still, their runners in scoring position numbers are off the charts right now. Those are going to come down, so their offense is going to cool. I guarantee it. On the money situation, we love talking about this because I couldn't talk about it much in my last job when I was working for the league. It's embarrassing. You can't operate like this. The biggest disease in the sport right now, actually, for owners, is the Tampa Bay Rays. And I give them all the credit in the world. It's not on Tampa Bay. Here's what I'm talking about. Their model has worked for a long time. They've barely had losing seasons during the existence of the franchise. And they operate at a pretty low payroll. It's actually a little higher than people think these days, but it's still pretty low. What does that do? That enables many other owners to say, if they can do it, so can we. Right. You can't have 10 Tampa Bay Rays in Major League Baseball. That will never happen. You might have a few of them. Cleveland's been one of the better teams in terms of pitching development for years now. That doesn't mean you can get away with not spending it all and being a bottom 5-ish payroll. If you never play in free agent waters, you might every once in a blue moon get lucky and have 1 or 2 years where everything clicks, right? But for the most part, you're not going to have a consistent winner. There's that side. The other side is what Baltimore just did, which is also rare. Tanking for 6 years, like all-out tanking, right? Yeah. We are getting rid of any player with value, and we're getting top-end picks. They nailed some of their later picks. But we did create a lottery system now in Major League Baseball where, for example, the White Sox, they're going to suck this year again. They can't get a top 10 pick next year. You can't tank like the Orioles just did in that last process. So, yeah, if you're a Cleveland fan, you should be pissed. This team shouldn't be operating at this low of a payroll. And it's even more disappointing in a year like this, where if they did 1 or 2 things in the offseason, like pick up another bat, they could be a legitimate contender to answer that first question. Yeah. They'll get the first pick. They'll probably get Charlie Condon, who I think can help them starting next year. But you can't operate like this where you never spend in free agency. You know what that's called? The Pittsburgh Pirates. Do you want to be like the Pittsburgh Pirates?
That's it. Well, I'd like to have Paul Skeens and Jarrett Jones. Yeah. I'd love to have those guys. But besides that, I wouldn't want to be the Pirates.
Scott, you mentioned Bo Naylor, and I know Bo mentioned Bo Naylor as well. This is not necessarily a Bo Naylor specific question. I'm just using it as an example to ask a bigger picture question. But He played about 60 games last year, about 40 games into this season, about 100 MLB games under his belt now. When do you start to have legitimate concerns about a hitting prospect who's not producing at the plate while also still being patient, knowing he's a young kid still learning his ropes in the MLB?
Every player, it's different, but it's still a while away in my mind from thinking, hey, this guy's not going to hit enough in the bigs. So I don't have an exact number for you. I mean, that's probably a better question for the dude whose seat I'm sitting in right now, AJ Pierzynski, when he starts our show. Yeah, I see. It's not great. It's 178, 3 homers, 11 RBIs, 541 OPS. Often also at the catcher position, it takes longer because it's quarterback, right? There's so much else to do at that position. You see a lot of catchers struggle. You know what else you see? You see many top-end picks. Like I'm talking top 3, 5, 10 picks in the draft who are decorated catchers who really hit in college, who don't end up hitting in the major leagues yet become just average regulars in the bigs. Thinking of Joey Bart, Austin Hedges, I believe, was a high-end pick. If you go back a little bit more, Ben Davis was in that category. Guys like that who actually play for a while, they just don't hit like you think they do. And I think some of that has to do with the catcher position. Suffice to say, I actually don't think Naylor will be in that category. I don't know if his ceiling's like a William Contreras, like one of the top 3 catcher bats in baseball, but I do think he'll at least be an average bat. Based on what I've seen from him in the minor leagues, I think the adjustment period's just been a little bit more difficult for him in terms of chasing pitches.
What's your theory on all the elbow injuries?
My theory is there's no solution. That's the biggest problem. There's no solution. There's a lot of blame game, but I don't really care because no one has an answer. Oh, we got to fix it with rules. Which rule? I haven't heard a good example yet. We got to fix it with the way that we have teams developing pitching. They don't care. They care about winning. That's how front offices work. Their job is to put a winning product on the field. They're not worried about if the guy's going to last 8 or 9 years. Actually, going back to the Rays conversation, they usually seem to have as many pitching injuries as anyone, where guys will be gangbusters out of the bullpen for them and then they'll disappear after 3-4 years. Some of that could be due to the fact that they go there and often their velocity ticks up and they rely on secondary pitches more that could cause more strain on the elbow. Again, that's not really their problem. Their problem is to win. So I don't know how you prevent that and how you tell a guy, hey, I can make you better and make you stick in the majors if you use your slider 65% of the time instead of 20% of the time. There's a chance you could get hurt in 3 years and your elbow could break. The guy's going to be like, I don't care. I want to stick in the bigs. So I don't know what the solution is. Some people point to the youth level, same thing. What's your solution? What are you going to do? Oh, it's a problem at the youth level. What's your fix? Are you going to make a U.S. law that you can't throw X amount of pitches if you're 12 years old? So that's my theory. My theory is there's all kinds of there's 10 reasons why this is a problem, right? Some players point to the pitch clock. Sure, that might be a part of the problem. I don't think it's the main problem. I think velocity is the problem. Your arm's not trained to do this. But what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Make a rule in Major League Baseball that you can't throw over 95 miles an hour? Like, there's just not a good fix here right now. I haven't heard one. Have you guys? Have you heard one good fix?
Nothing. You got to live with it.
No.
That's just something you have to prepare for as a major league team. And by the way, my starting pitcher for my little league team last night, I had to pull him out after 4. He had a sore back, he told me. He's 12 years old. He had a sore back. I had to pull him out of the game. We're turned to 2-2 tie. For crying out loud. He did a nice job. Good job.
You're calling for too many secondary pitches. That's probably a problem. You calling for too many sliders for him? He's like,
I had curveballs, No. He had 10 strikeouts through 4. He was dominating.
You didn't.
But he did a good job.
You didn't properly stretch him out.
I think I did. I think we kind of rushed. We rushed the preparation. That screwed up his back. All right, Scott. This is the most important question. All right. Do you watch wrestling at all? I'm not a big wrestling guy, but do you watch it?
WWE?
Yeah.
I did a lot when I was a kid. I haven't watched much over the last year or two. During COVID, a little bit more. So I know some names.
Okay, so you don't need to know the names, but you know what the Royal Rumble when you got to throw guys over the top rope to get them out. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, see, there you go.
This guy.
There you go. I love it.
That's real. That's Pierzynski got it from Edge.
Okay, so now you got in the ring Pierzynski, Papelbon, Todd Frazier, Jason Kipnis.
And Ken Rosenthal. We're throwing Ken in there anyway. I'm throwing Ken in there anyway.
Let me tell you something. I saw Ken in a restaurant this winter. I was down in Florida. I saw him in a restaurant. I didn't bother him. And the guy's like 4'6".
I know. That's why I'm throwing him in there
about
anyway.
100 pounds.
Rey Mysterio won a bunch
Okay, you
of
want to
WWE
throw him in there too?
championships.
Fine. Scott, who is winning that Royal Rumble with those guys? Who's the champ?
Did you include Kratz? He's kind of our
he's a catcher. So, all right, I forgot about him. Let's go ahead. Throw him in too.
He's a house.
Yeah.
He's a house. There's been fights because, Eric Kratz played in the major leagues for a long time. He's one of the stars of our show. He played in the minor leagues for a long time. He knows everyone, and he's a house. I mean, I've been over at his home studio quite a bit, and he's working the weights as well as anyone. I probably would give it to Kratz, honestly. I would say, with ease. I would give it to Kratz. He survives the Royal Rumble. I think he's got the endurance. There are stories that Kratz can tell, and he's told some of them on our show, where he's like holding huge dudes back in a fight, and just by holding them, he's like breaking their fingers. Like, he's got those kind of stories going on. He's big. He still works out. So I would say he's the easy winner. Ken will be the first person to tell you he's not Rey Mysterio.
No.
There's not flexibility. There's not strength there.
No.
Kipnis would probably also be another one to tell you he's not Mr. Strength. He's pretty small. I think he's probably about 6 feet tall. So the next person in line, I would say it's probably close with AJ and Pap, but I'll give it to AJ. AJ's also a big catcher. He's been through a lot fights-wise. He's still got that dad strength going on. So I'll go power rankings, Kratz 1, Pierzynski 2, maybe Papelbon 3 from our group, and then I'd have to think about it because we got about 12 guys on our roster now.
I mean, Papelbon almost chokeslammed Bryce Harper back in the day, as we know. Last thing, really quick, Scott, I'm going to tell you, just because you brought this up, I'm going to tell you a story that I think you'll appreciate. So my first year in this business, I was doing play-by-play for the Batavia Muck Dogs, which in 99 to 01 was the Phillies A-ball affiliate at the time, right? New York Penn League. In those 3 years, the guys who played there for Marlon Byrd, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Ryan Madsen were the 4 big names, right? All good guys. Ryan Howard was my favorite of the 4. He was so awesome. Okay, we had a brawl in, I believe it was 2000. I can't remember which year it was, but there was a brawl against the Williamsport Crosscutters. They were the Pirates affiliate. The whole thing started, by the way, over somebody hitting on somebody else's girlfriend. That's how the whole thing started. But the two funniest things ever that I thought you'd appreciate it. Number one, the 2 managers for the Crosscutters, it was Curtis Wilkerson, who I'm sure you remember, and for the Phillies, it was a guy who didn't play in the big leagues named Frank Klebe. But he was a former Golden Gloves boxer. They were squaring up behind home plate like they were having a boxing match. But the funniest thing ever, Marlon Byrd, there was this little tiny guy on the other team. Marlon Byrd chased him down the first base line, and I don't remember the player's name. He was so scared, he ran into the clubhouse to get away from Marlon Byrd. It was nuts. And one of the pitchers in street clothes for our team, guy by the name of Frank Brooks, who pitched 4 innings in the big leagues, I can't remember for who it was in the Phillies, he went to my high school too, was standing in the press box talking to me when it started in his street clothes, ran onto the field. Lucky he didn't get arrested because you can't really do that in the street clothes.
No.
One of the all-time greatest brawls ever.
Is that on video? Was that on video back then? 'Cause a lot of minor league games weren't,
That we did not have that game on video. The owner, the GM of the team wouldn't even let me do play-by-play for home games because he thought people wouldn't come to the game. So we only did road games, which was stupid, but totally ridiculous. But he wasn't a baseball guy, so he's an idiot. But I wish I could find a video of that. And unfortunately, I wasn't even calling the game on the radio. But that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen on a baseball field in my life, non-baseball. It was unreal, and I thought you'd appreciate that.
I do. 2 quick things. Number one, don't forget, Marlon Byrd was pretty strong, and he was a roids guy. He got popped for PED. Okay, so a little roid rage action. And 2, you know what that makes me think about, because we're on the Cleveland show here. Down goes Anderson. We've had Tom Hamilton on multiple times. I think he's the best radio broadcaster in the business and maybe one of the best all time. So that call and that moment, how often do you see that where
unreal?
Also, remember, nobody's that quick to help out TA last year when he squares up against Jose, and he's like, all right, if I have to, I'll give him a little hook, and
that's right.
He went down. So
I thought you were going to tell Scott about the time you did play-by-play on the toilet.
Oh, yeah. That's another story for another day. I actually did an inning of play-by-play from the bathroom. It was in the minor
bathroom
leagues.
experience or about a game?
He was taking a shit and doing play-by-play see through the window.
Right, but are you play-by-playing like, here comes the toilet paper, oh, we're running out of pitches?
No. I was I was actually calling the game. I don't know listen, it's A-ball. There was probably 37 people listening to the game on the radio. But, I was on the toilet calling the game. Because, in the minors, a lot of these games, you just one-person show. So I grabbed my crowd mic that was hanging down on the net behind home plate. I pulled it up. It happened to be in the Jamestown Jammer Stadium. They happen to have a bathroom in the press box. I opened the door, looking out on the field. There you go. All-time moment.
That's why you're a legend. That's how you stay in the business, okay? You do whatever it takes to stay in the broadcasting
That's
world.
it. But listen, if you like baseball, if you love baseball, you have to watch Foul Territory. You guys are live every day at 1, correct?
Yep, every day, 1 o'clock Eastern time. We got a big announcement soon about some TV deals and all of that. But you can catch us wherever you get your pods. Look up Foul Territory. But anything big going on in the game, we'll cover it in a way that you won't get elsewhere. And we talk to 1 or 2 MLB players per day on the show too. So yeah, it's cool. We've put a lot into this, just like you guys. You guys are crushing it, obviously, in Cleveland.
Thank you.
So same concept here, just for Major League Baseball.
It's awesome. It's a great show. If you love baseball, it's really the one thing you got to be watching, no doubt. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Scott. Have a good one.
Appreciate you guys. This was fun.
Got it.
Anytime. Cheers.
Yeah. All right.
We can set redirects on our YouTube stream. We should just redirect people to Foul Territory at 1 o'clock. We actually could do it.
They do. I watch their interviews all the time, and they bust each other's balls. It's really fun.
It's kind of this.
It reminds me of our show in a lot of ways.
But just all baseball.
But just baseball, So it's cool.
It is a good show. It's a really good show.
Yeah, and he's great. And anyway, go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, guys, that was a fantastic interview. And if you're looking to get Guardians tickets and keep the baseball hype rolling, there's no better place to go than Game Time. You can save up to 60% off by buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater. You can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. They have an all-in pricing where you can toggle this feature to show upfront, no surprise fees at checkout. There's no better way to buy tickets, genuinely. You have to download the Game Time app, create an account, and all you have to do is use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but you can create your account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. You can download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
By the way, Steve gave us a list of players in recent memory, 10-plus years, who were undrafted. Kurt Warner.
Yep.
Warren Moon. Now, Warren Moon, I think there's something weird about why Warren Moon didn't get drafted. He played in the... Did he play in the USFL? No, he played in the Canadian football. That was crazy.
Canadian football, yeah.
That was crazy that Warren Moon didn't get drafted. John Randall, Tony Romo, Antonio Gates, James Harrison, who's from Ohio. Where did he play at Toledo, didn't he? Kent. Right. That's a bad job out of me. Jason Peters, who played forever. I didn't realize he was undrafted. Nate Newton, Wes Welker, and then a kicker, Adam Vinatieri. There's some really good players.
James Harrison played at Kent State?
Yeah.
Didn't Antonio Gates play at Kent State?
Yeah,
yes.
He played basketball. And at Kent State.
That's a hell of an NFL pedigree for
Antonio Gates didn't play any football at college, did he?
Nope.
Which is crazy because he's one of the top 10 tight ends probably of all time.
He led him to the Elite Eight, didn't he?
Yeah, they beat
in basketball.
I think they
Julius Peppers.
He played at North Carolina though.
I know.
Julian Edelman went to Kent too.
Oh, Julian Edelman. I thought you were going to say, yeah.
He went to Kent too?
Yeah. He played quarterback at Kent, didn't he?
Yep.
I knew he was a quarter. I didn't realize it was Kent.
Yeah, Kent.
Was it Kent State?
Josh Cribbs went to Kent.
That's a hell of
a good list.
That's a hell of a list.
That's one of the best MAC lists.
Hey, listen, when I played in the MAC, they had ball players.
Oh yeah.
Like
Big Ben,
Roethlisberger,
Leftwich,
Bruce Gradkowski,
Randy Moss. No,
Randy Moss played at Marshall. Charlie Batch played.
Chad Pennington's in Marshall.
Chad Pennington went to Marshall. There's a guy named Omar Jacobs that was crazy for Bowling Green.
Well, the dude just got drafted from Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback.
Yep.
He was 23rd pick in the draft, 24th.
Did you guys know, and maybe, you're so young, I don't know, but before the movie We Are Marshall, I didn't know anything about what had happened. Did you? Because you
yeah. Like
I guess
I
wasn't into college football as a kid, so
to add to the Kent State list, shout out to Matt Colker for just sending me a text.
Yeah.
Jack Lambert.
Oh God.
And Nick Saban.
Wow, yeah.
This is off a text I
Yeah,
just
right.
got. This is in the moment text. So if
Yeah.
Matt's wrong, I don't take any credit
Jason
for that.
Taylor went to Akron. Defensive end?
Yeah.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Mac was.
Joy Taylor's brother?
Joy Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame.
For what?
She's the
Say-
greatest.
say no more.
She's the greatest announcer, female announcer of all time.
I don't believe that.
Speaking of announcers,
Go ahead, Mike. Yes.
speaking of announcers,
Yeah.
Browns on the game, or Brady's on the call for the
Yeah.
Browns debut. Jason Kelsey, Cleveland native, also officially signed with Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
How much he getting?
They didn't put the money out there.
That's crazy. Why they put Tom's money out there? They put him and Romo's money out there. They put Kelsey's bread out there.
I'm sure it'll come out, but it did not come out in the initial welcome tweet. So I was curious. Who are
I
you more
think
excited to
in the
listen to?
past, I would be worried that being on ESPN would stifle Jason Kelsey, right? Because these traditional networks are so uptight. You heard from Scott Braun, like there were things he couldn't say about baseball teams, and now he can because he's doing his own thing, which we love, and that's what we have the ability to do that. But I feel like Pat McAfee changed the game at ESPN a little bit. Now guys
Before
are,
the Manning cast.
yeah, but the Manning can't, like Pat McAfee says whatever the hell he wants.
Now,
The Mannings still don't go like McAfee does.
Fair. McAfee takes it to the extreme,
Yeah.
but I think the door was opened by the Mannings. Then McAfee
Yeah.
came with the barreling ram and knocked it down.
now you can't. You can't say everything, right? Your boy Paul
No,
Pierce be out here
Yeah.
going crazy.
Oh
Paul
yeah,
Pierce,
we
what
mentioned
are
that
you-
yesterday.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Paul?
Yeah, no, we talked. He got to get off camera. Like he can't
Come
be.
on, man.
Did
If
you
you
hear they
got-
fired RG3 at ESPN, or they just took him off Monday Night Football? Is he gone from ESPN?
I don't-
Period.
I don't know.
I'm not a big RG3 guy.
I like RG3. I'll be honest. He has some bad takes, but I think he's like
Yeah.
his bad takes are entertaining. 'cause-
The worst though is what's his name? That guy on Fox. Oh my God, he's bad.
between
The former defensive player,
Acho.
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 He's the worst.
yeah,
Anthony says RG3 is out.
Oh, he's completely out of ESPN,
Yeah,
or just
this
from Monday Night
NBC
Football?
Sports article says Jason Kelsey is in and RG3 is out on ESPN's Monday
he
Night
got-
Countdown.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's just
Just-
Monday Night Football or is he still part of the network? I don't know.
I mean, is he gonna do him and Greg McElroy? He gonna do college stuff.
Yeah,
They
he's
go
probably
down
better
there.
at that.
I'm excited for both of them though. Kelsey and Brady.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. They're gonna be
I
great.
think Brady, if you listen to his podcast, like he throws some shots at the current generation. He feels like not that he's been retired for that long, but he feels like, you know, when you watch NBA Today on TNT,
Yeah.
how those guys, Chuck and Shaq, hate the younger generation. Not hate in a bad way, but like not as good as my generation.
Yeah.
He talks about the quarterbacks not being as accurate, defenses not being as intricate,
Yeah.
coaches not being as detailed. Like he's pretty harsh on these guys.
Does
so to
he
hear
talk
him-
about how he had a cakewalk division for the entire time he was in New England?
It doesn't necessarily
doesn't talk
talk that.
about that.
I don't listen to his podcast so
Yeah.
frequently, but I'm just saying he is
Well, Jim
critical.
Gray's annoying.
I want to see what his angle gonna be like.
Yeah.
Tony Romo's angle is like, I'm gonna just call these plays out, and then that got annoying for some people.
Tony Romo for a minute was like, "Oh, this is different. It's
Yeah,
awesome,"
yeah.
and now he's just annoying.
Yeah.
You could tell Tony. In my opinion, you could tell Tony Romo doesn't prepare well. You know, Tom Brady's going to be completely prepared. He's not going to
He's
just
be
wing it.
overly prepared.
Yes, and he's going to be great. And
I think Kelsey's gonna be really good too.
Kelsey's going to be fantastic in a different way, more about personality and.
With the
and-
question of who you're more excited for, I was like,
Yeah.
well, it depends on what I'm watching. If it's a Browns game, I'd rather have Brady because I don't like.
Yes.
I don't like the distraction of like the.
Right, the
Not that it's a
silliness.
sideshow, but
Yeah.
just I want to be locked in, and Brady's going to give us some insight into Deshaun and
Agreed.
formations and protections, and from a defensive standpoint. I'm not saying Kelsey can't, but I don't. There's no one else I'd rather hear from than Tom Brady.
I can't watch the Manning cast when it's a game I care about.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
And they're great, but the interviews.
They
Like,
take,
I
they
don't want
take
to be
away from the
distracted
game.
by an
Yeah.
interview.
On the flip side, if it's just a random game I'm watching,
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have Kelsey
Yes.
because you don't know what the
He's
hell
gonna
he's
be
going to
funny.
say.
He's gonna
Yeah.
be crazy.
This year's gonna break it. Like, if you thought like it was gonna be crazy the last couple years,
Yeah.
I think this next upcoming year, we're gonna break a lot of views records. Like, because there's
Oh
just
my God.
because like
You talking to the NFL?
Well,
that-
our show
our-
specifically,
Oh,
the
yeah,
NFL
yeah,
in
yeah.
general.
like
yeah.
like I really think like because think about it, and I don't know, you weren't here yet, but when Baker was playing good and we had good quarterback play when he was playing good, city was crazy. Like, it was nuts because
When Flacco was playing good.
when Flacco was playing,
It was crazy.
It was Flaccavelli, shout out. You know how many Kool-Aid Mafia T-shirts I sold because of Flaccavelli?
Right. But the difference is, with Baker, you thought it was sustainable.
Right.
It turned out not
True,
to be
true,
here.
true, true,
Right.
With Flacco, you knew realistic. I mean, there's some people that con themselves into believing it was sustainable. If Deshaun plays well, you're going to again think it's sustainable.
Right.
If Deshaun has a great season this year, then everything he did the last 2 seasons for me, and I think for a good chunk of fans, I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
irrelevant.
in him again. He could turn it around that quick for me. Now, it can't happen. It can't just be one game. But if he has a good season, then I'm going to believe he's back to being that guy, and I'm going to assume he's going to continue to be good going forward.
I think literally he could change if he comes out. Say the Browns come out and they handily beat the Cowboys at home.
Yeah.
He gonna change 65% of the people's minds that was detractors.
No, I think it's 2. I think he needs 2. I think he needs 2.
The Cowboys game is gonna be placebo. That's Kool-Aid. Like, if they beat the they're gonna run that highlight for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, and then you come back and you get Jacksonville, and it's like, okay, it's Jacksonville. You beat them last year. I mean, they lost some people. It's Jacksonville. Like, they got a chance to set themselves up for a nice little
And the Giants in week 3.
Oh.
It's a nice little runway against, if you get past Dallas, weeks 2, 3, and we'll see what happens tonight with 4, 5, 6, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a nice runway to start. But the reason I think it's at least 2 weeks, G, is one game can be anything. He could have a bad game to follow that, and then it's back. And also, because I've learned how some of the Cleveland football fan psyche works, we saw Flacco throw for 3+ on Jacksonville last year. New season, new defense, but sometimes fans don't forget those little tiny details, even if they're irrelevant in the big picture. And if Watson comes out and throws for 152 and 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and a 27-6 win, you know it's going to be a comparison of.
It's not just
he
about
didn't
winning with Watson. It's about
no. I know.
Gotta play well.
But that's my point.
They can't win in spite of him. They've got to win
Watch
because
this.
That's
of
my
it.
point.
If he comes out and he plays really well, and they just have, say for instance, he goes down, leads a game-winning drive, and then Dak Prescott comes back and scores on the defense. If he got 330-some yards and a couple deep balls, people are going to be like, oh, no. We'll take. Hey, they won't even be mad at the L.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree. There'll be more excitement over how he played than the disappointment over the
We had that exact same conversation last year. Do you remember heading into the week 1 matchup with Cincinnati? Would you rather win an ugly game or lose a shootout? And it was based off that whole thing. On the flip side of that, G, hypothetically, Deshaun doesn't play well. How quickly does the pressure go from like 6 to 10? Could it be one? Is it one game enough?
One game.
They just there's been a leak on the Thanksgiving Day slate.
Are the Browns part of it?
They are not.
Oh,
don't care.
I think that was out the window once they played the Cowboys. And no.
Yeah,
they're not playing the Lions.
But they do have that third game.
They could have been the third game. Yeah. First game is Bears at Lions. That's an interesting one because I think the Bears are going to be much better.
Caleb Williams.
They got a lot of. Hey, listen, I like the Bears' young receivers.
Don't like the 4:00 game, Giants at Cowboys. That feels like a blowout.
I hate that.
Why would you do that?
Yeah,
they have to stop putting the Giants Cowboys on national
TV. Yeah, give me
TV.
Eagles Cowboys.
It's never close.
I take Commanders and Cowboys to see the young dude. What's his name?
I don't love that either, but better than the Giants. Yes.
Yeah.
And the night game's a good one. At least on paper, Dolphins at Packers.
Well, at least they set it up so you could eat during the middle game.
Yeah, that's true.
You can skip the first half or skip the second half. Get your first football.
Dolphins, Packers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That could be 2 high-flying offenses. I mean, I think Green Bay.
That could be fun.
Yeah, that's.
I like Jordan Love. I love what I saw from him.
I do too.
He kind of went under the radar because he didn't really do much in the first half. Second half of the year, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Man, the NFL's going to be so much fun. There's so many good quarterbacks.
You weren't here yesterday. We're going to super chat in 1 sec, but Jason Lloyd, the curmudgeon of all curmudgeons, the black-hearted sheep of the show, said yesterday, I'm excited for football season. And he says, I never get excited for football season.
He's usually annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Which means if he has the excitement level, if he's got the football itch already on May 15th, you know how crazy it's going to be tonight. Tyvis might have 5,000 views tonight on this live show.
He might.
Oh, yeah.
He might. Like, so it's so
Watch Tyvis screw it up.
Don't mess it up, Tyvis. Don't be coming
No pressure.
Don't come in here with no jokes. Don't be loud. Hey, you and Anthony don't be doing your stand-up routine. Get to these scheduled games.
Yeah.
And by the way, I need you to see I need you to really keep. See, Tyvus got that Browns radio network. He's starting to learn from Jeff Phelps. He ain't gonna say nothing bad. I'm like, how did I get through the whole doggone show and I ain't hear nothing? I'm like, man, we got beat 46-2, and I'm like, but I feel good about that 46-2. There's some
that was a tough 2
here.
points.
Yeah, that was. I mean, there was a lot of things we see that we build on next game.
That stop in the fourth quarter against their backup offensive line.
I mean, listen.
If they could only do that earlier. Yeah.
All right, Anthony, hit us with some super chats.
All right, guys, our first super chat comes today from M. Bynes. G. Bush ain't wrong. It's one thing if they let them play on both ends of the court, but when our guys are getting mugged and get no calls, and then they call touch fouls on the other end.
That was nasty
Refer
work.
to the game.
Nasty work.
I think it's overstated.
That Darius Garland, when he put a shot hand up, put his hands down, and they shooting, Jaylen Brown shooting like this with his feet in the air.
But they overturned that.
You can't shoot missionary
They
style.
overturned that in the first place, though.
You can't shoot that way. You can't be laying perpendicular.
In fairness to the refs,
that was funny, Jim.
It's hard, man. We get to see high-def, super slow-mo replays. They're watching the game. And the problem is the players all are always acting out there.
I mean,
it's hard.
But it's Jason Tatum. I don't know what championship he won on NBA 2K, but this man will swear up and down that he done made first-team All-NBA, 2-3 rings of MVPs because he won every single call. Every if you look at him, he's like, I
take it. Every call. He never thinks he fouls, and he wants every call.
Every single time.
He's in the top 5 of most 5 complainers in the NBA.
God. Man, that's rough. Man.
So this next one comes from Slim Shaney. Bull.
Yeah.
You weren't a fan of Goldschmidt idea. What about Tyler O'Neill? Boston has a ton of young outfielders, and I think they would want to move on O'Neill.
You called for O'Neill before
I was talking about O'Neill last year when he was going to be a free agent with St. Louis. I believe I can't remember what his contract was with Boston. Now, Boston's in the mix right now, so I don't think they would trade him at the moment. He's had a great season so far. I've always been high on the guy. I always thought he had a lot of upside. He's put it all together right now. 100% Slim Shaney. I'm with you. I love Tyler O'Neill. I don't think the Red Sox would trade him right now. He's been like their best player or one of their best players.
You know his dad won Mr. Canada, like a bodybuilding.
I did not know.
His dad, yeah, it's
Good
the
job,
only thing
Eddie.
they ever say about him.
But I love it. I've been talking about Tyler O'Neill for 2 years, so I love it, yes.
All right, next one up from our friend Mud. Bull has the wildest stories. Keep them coming.
Okay, I'll try to remember some other stories.
I thought that's where you were going with Scott Braun at first, by the way. So I didn't mean to put you on a spot.
No, I don't.
I thought that's where you were going with it initially.
As long as I can remember, I've told you I had seizures when I was 13, 18, and 23. I had three seizures in those years. I haven't had any since, thankfully. And so my memories are all jacked up. Like there's certain things that I can remember every last detail, especially when it comes to sports. But there's a lot of parts of my life. Like honestly, I'm gonna share this with you right now. I don't think anybody's ever done this in the history of TV. I lost my virginity on my 18th birthday. Okay? And her name was Rita. All right? Funny story, my dad was dating her mom. My dad was dating her mom. Okay? My parents had gotten divorced. They were dating. Is that weird?
No, that's
they were dating. They weren't.
That's fair game.
It wasn't like we were, I didn't really know her.
Yeah,
they had just started dating.
Yeah, that's fair
So
game.
I met her, and then so I lost my virginity to her on my 18th birthday. I couldn't tell you her last name. If she walked past me on the street, I'd have no idea. And it's not because I'm some big stud, which I'm certainly not, and that I don't care about her. It was meaningful to me, but my memory is so jacked up when it comes to experiences that I know if she walked past me on the street, I'd have no idea. No clue whatsoever.
That's crazy. We got 3 more yet?
Maybe that's not unusual. Would you guys remember the girl you lost your virginity to? If she walked past you?
No,
okay, you wouldn't either.
I try to count. Like I have a ledger.
You have a ledger?
Yeah, I try to remember.
Mine's not that high. I'm not gonna lie. I keep it real here.
All right, then. From Daryl.
It's all right.
Great show, guys.
It's not G. Bush level.
I mean,
what's up, Daryl?
Anthony? No, nobody's gonna fire you. You're all right.
Oh no, I'm just
It's
laughing.
me talking about losing my virginity. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I remember everything. All right, so from Daryl.
I should hope so.
He said it like he was there. I remember everything.
Anthony just lost his virginity to his current girlfriend.
So.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways, from Daryl, great show. Awesome job, Anthony. Thank you, Daryl. UCSS is on fire. Bull G, McNuggets, love you guys. And I got
Love
2
you,
from
Daryl.
Donnie M.
Donnie.
KC in Cleveland on Monday night. The Kelceys return to Cleveland. And then watch Tatum tonight. He gets away with extending his forearm every time he drives the hoop.
Yes, and yeah, I actually think Kansas City coming to Cleveland for a Monday Night Football game where Jason Kelce would come home to call it makes a lot of sense from a lot of different big picture resources.
Cool.
And the Tatum thing, he does push off. That's a fact.
Yeah,
he's not the only one in the NBA.
No.
But on a fast break, he has a forearm-assisted Euro step I've never seen.
Looks like the Heisman Trophy.
By the way, guys don't even bother trying to not palm the ball when they dribble anymore, right? Guys do it on almost every play. Almost everybody.
And when it gets,
they hands, you know.
Yeah. It's
all right, we'll see you on overtime. G's doing like the rerun right now. Remember rerun from What's Happening?
I was crossing people over.
Look at Mike.
His size is out of
come
control.
a long way,
You look
brother.
miserable there too, by the way.
That was like the best night of my life.
Shout out to Joe Murr's longtime fan. I've known the guy for years. He said Mike did a great job in his stand-up.
I thought you were going to say Joe
inexperienced
Lowe.
Oh, thanks.
Not Joe Lowe.
Shout out to Joe Lowe.
Joe Lowe's been.
Shout out to J Lowe too.
Joe Lowe. We'll see you on overtime. See you, Mike. Nice tie. Here we go.
Peace.